Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cashback really adds up.
Your weekly dose of romance and drama has arrived. Season 29 of The Bachelor is here, and Grant Ellis, certified hottie and former day trader, is trading his day job on Wall Street for a second chance at everlasting love. New episodes drop every Monday at 8/7 Central, bringing you fresh twists in Grant's journey to find his soulmate. This self-proclaimed mama's boy is all grown up and ready to invest his heart. Will his playful charm win over the house full of hopefuls, or will the competition prove too intense? From heartfelt moments to adrenaline-pumping dates, each week brings new surprises in the mansion. Will Grant find his perfect match or end up with a broken heart? Tune in every Monday at 8/7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu for new episodes of The Bachelor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you so much for joining us today on another really incredible, weird, crazy, gross episode of Crime and Sports. It is part 2 of Tom Payne.
Tom Payne, coming
This
back.
guy, I don't know how we covered him in an hour on the first one. We just really breezed through it, but wow, is this guy an asshole. Just can't stop raping. And
yeah, it's his favorite.
And we're not even close to done. Like, this is, no. It's not like, oh, well, now he'll get out of jail and everything will be fine. That'll be this episode. Oh, no. Full of crime, full of crazy.
Okay.
He'll start a new career that'll make you shake your head and wonder what the fuck he's thinking. It's a lot. We'll get to all that. First of all, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. And the reason you want to do that is to get tickets for live shows.
Right.
The last of the year are coming up here, Terrytown, New York, and also in Boston.
Yeah.
So get those if you have not already, because there's only a couple left. New York might be sold out right now.
Yeah, it is. I was going to say, we released tickets, and those are already gone.
I think those are gone. So Boston, and you can check. You never know. Another one will pop up in New York, a couple there, but just get on those. And then next month, we'll be announcing the 2025 tour dates for Small Town Murder, and they'll be going on sale. Not next month, this month. It's December already. What am I talking about? Jesus
Very
Christ.
soon.
It's December already? What the fuck happened? Okay, never mind.
I don't know where the time's gone, man.
Moving on. Moving on. That's shutupandgivememurder.com. Patreon.com/crime-in-sports is where you want to be for all of your Patreon and all of your bonus needs. We have them there for you. Anybody $5 a month or above, you are going to get a huge back catalog. Gigantic, hundreds of episodes you've never heard before immediately upon subscription. Then new ones every other week. And this week is no different. This week for Crime and Sports, what you'll get is we are going to talk about a weird, gross United Kingdom sex scandal that has to do with soccer. It's gross. It's pretty nasty stuff. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about something even grosser, the cult baby murder trial fallout. And we're not going to talk about the trial as much as we're going to talk about their lifestyle, what was going on. There was polygamy, there was weird medical beliefs, there was
bizarre choices were made.
Urine drinking on a daily basis. It's very strange stuff, so we'll talk all about that. That is patreon.com/crime-in-sports is where you get all that and more. So subscribe, and you get a shout out at the end of the show. Sure. That said, let's dive back into Tom Payne, everybody.
Or he'll dive into us.
Unfortunately, he's going to wrap a dish towel around our face and dive into us here. A very scary man. It's bad enough. Anybody who's like a rapist out there wandering around looking for shit is a scary person to begin with. But when you add that they're 7'2", it just makes it way more terrifying. Like a woodland monster, like a Yeti coming for you or something. That's terrifying.
It just wants to enter you.
It just wants rape. That's all it wants is rape.
What if Bigfoot up there in the Northwest was just hunting to rape?
Yeah, you wouldn't be going after him so hard, would you? You're going after him. He's going after you. He's hiding behind a fucking tree with a banjo waiting to rape you. That would be bad. So let's start with
That's squatching.
That's some squatching. He's going to squatch you good. That's what we call a woodland rape would be called squatching.
Yeah.
Oh, man, he squatched me good out there. Who squatched you?
You know who.
You know who.
He's huge.
God damn it. Gigantic with his big furry dick coming at me. So May 26th, 1973 is the place to begin here. And that is where there's an article in the Atlanta Voice, and the headline is New Accusations Made Against Johnson in Payne Case. And that is his lawyer, Johnson. That is the, I believe, the state senator Leroy Johnson is his name there. So in an exclusive interview with The Voice last week, Mr. Thomas Payne Sr., father of the Atlanta Hawks basketball player convicted of rape in Fulton County last September, and George Williams, head of the Drum Major for Justice, revealed some information they believe would lead toward proving that Tom Payne Jr. is the victim of a conspiracy.
Oh.
This is all a big conspiracy.
He didn't. I've been framed.
I've been framed like Cheech. He's been framed. Oh, I've been framed. Yeah, he's been framed. I never do nothing wrong. Every time I get the blame. They got multiple women to say a gigantic rapist came after them. A gigantic rapist with a decent mid-range jump shot. That's right. They're very rare.
Guy averaging a double-double. That's a specific man.
Especially back then, it'd be like 7'2", huh? Do we know where Wilt Chamberlain is tonight? He's playing in Boston? Okay, well, it's this guy then. There's nobody else.
A big body count, too.
Yeah, no shit. He's like, I'm too busy having voluntary sex with
they want
multiple partners. Yeah. I got multiple partners all over the place. I'm too busy to rape.
I may have been raped. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I'm not raping anybody.
Definitely not. So they said Tom is presently serving a 2-year sentence, which, again, a little fresher. They gave him 2 years for multiple rapes. Wow. That was insane. I would say I would just shut the fuck up and be happy that I'm not going to prison for 20 years. Wouldn't you?
I don't know. If I didn't do it, dude,
Oh no! If I did, he did do it.
Scream. Yeah, I know.
If you're him, if you did it and you got 2 years, shut the fuck up.
You got to be thrilled about it.
Shut up and take your 2. Don't have your dad go out and say there's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
So they said other rape charges and has other rape charges pending against him in Cobb County. Mr. Payne and Mr. Williams disclosed a police report from Cobb County in which the alleged rape victim described the person that attacked her as being 6'2", weighing between 170 and 180 pounds and having rotten teeth. Tom Payne Jr. is 7'2", 106 or 260 pounds, and has perfect teeth.
His teeth are great.
Perfect. They're excellent. He's a rapist, but his teeth are wonderful.
Yeah.
Good for him. His teeth in no way resembles the description of the rapist. Furthermore, the victim said in the report that she thought the rapist was a delivery man from the place where she worked. Okay, according to Mr. Payne and Mr. Williams, Tom's attorneys Senator Leroy Johnson and Harris Bostic knew about this report, but at no time made it known to either the family or to the media. Instead, Mr. Payne said he and his wife were led to believe that there was strong evidence against Tom in Cobb County, and were, in fact, told by Senator Johnson that he had secured information that if Tom would agree to make the deal and plead guilty, that the officials would agree to let the 2 years he had already been given in the case in Fulton County serve to cover all the other charges in the other counties.
Okay.
Attorney Bostic consulted about this accusation, and said that was absolutely untrue. Mr. Bostic, who Mr. Payne said went to the jail many times to try to persuade Tom to accept a deal, What deal would get you less than 2 years? Jesus Christ.
I don't know how you're going to get.
What are you talking about?
Trying to get probation, or are you trying to get time served?
What more of a deal can you get? The women have to apologize to you? Like, what are we talking about?
For dragging your name through the mud?
Yeah, they have to fuck you voluntarily now? Is that part of it? Like, what do you mean, dude? This is crazy. And says he never talked to Tom about the Cobb County case. Mr. Payne and Mr. Williams have charged that there was a conspiracy between Senator Johnson and the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh,
now the Hawks are involved in this whole mess.
They're trying to relieve themselves of his contract. What would be their interest?
That's what I'm saying, to make them look worse. I don't know.
We're beacons of this community.
Yeah.
How can we tarnish our legacy a little bit?
How can we do that? And at the same time, they're the ones that hired Johnson, so they're paying him. So, I mean, maybe he would have some special fealty to them. But as a lawyer, I mean, that's kind of your oath is to your loyalties to your client, not to anybody else on earth. So that would be a conflict of interest. They want to deprive him of his constitutional rights and keep him incarcerated in jail to make it impossible for him to perform as his contract with the Hawks requires. Yeah. Thereby giving them a basis for termination of his contract.
Yeah, he thinks that they set him up as a rapist to
save.
To pay him.
Yeah, he's not. It's not like they have a $30 million contract with him too. Like they probably paid the lawyer more than he makes in a season. You know what I mean?
What team has ever sat around?
Wow.
Like, I know how we can get rid of this contract.
Oh man, we really signed a bad one there. You know
really
what?
Worried about the salary cap.
I'm worried because I mean we don't want to pay. That was ridiculous. I think right that we signed him to someone.
What if we make him a rapist?
What if he's a rapist? What do you think there? What if we make him a rapist?
That's a wild accusation.
That is. Wow, that's a lot. That would be something. Imagine if teams did that. Holy shit, there's some guys out there. The Jets right now would be fucking planting dead bodies in Aaron Rodgers' bushes all over his property. Murder weapons and shit. They'd be fucking...
Yeah.
It would be women just bleeding on the front lawn. Aaron Rodgers did this to me.
Make him like the Meadowlands Dahmer because there's rumors.
Exactly. They said there were forces within the Atlanta Hawks management that said who were displeased with Tom's attitude as a black man. And as much as he refused to cooperate in certain projects that were used to promote the basketball team, such as certain speaking and social engagements, Tom refused to engage in that kind of activity, preferring instead to communicate with brothers in the black community, they said. Tom has a 5-year contract with the Hawks, which could be broken if Tom was convicted. Senator Johnson is no longer handling the Payne case. Attorney Howard Moore, Atlanta attorney famed for his handling of the Angela Davis case, well, he's been saying he's Angela Davis, so why not, has accepted the case. His retainer fee of $5,000 was raised in part from personal contributions by the Atlanta Hawks players Lou Hudson, Walt Bellamy, Herb Gilliam, and Bobby Christian. According to Mr. Williams, they have information from some of the Hawks players who sought to advise Tom to go along with the scheme of things. Okay. Tom Payne Jr. was first arrested in Fulton County. Yeah, there we go. May 18th, he was arrested and charged with rape, finally. So they say to further show the conspiracy, Mr. Williams said, Detective Compton, who is the Atlanta police detective who first started bringing all this together, appears as a witness in the Cobb County case. What we're saying is simply that after Tom was brought in a case here, Compton simply took Tom's picture and went to all the persons in the various counties where a black man was involved in a rape and introduced Tom as being that person. You're trying to sell him as a rapist. Like, you looking for a rapist? I got a rapist here. How about him?
I got a black rapist here. Is this
you're looking for a black guy? I got a tall black guy. They simply then brought a charge against him for that particular crime, regardless to what the description stated. There were also some moves to have Tom arrested back in 1971 before he left Kentucky. These moves all started after it was made public that Tom had decided to leave Kentucky to play with the Atlanta Hawks. Remember, he was saying that they're trying to get me fucked over here in Kentucky. Mr. Payne said Tom was confronted with these charges the very same day that he signed his contract. There are various things that have happened that would link the Hawks in with Kentucky and would give Kentucky reasons to be able to put pressure on the Hawks to make the Hawks seek to do certain things, Mr. Payne said. He said he could not disclose what they were at this time. It's just a conspiracy. We don't have details.
They could do some things. What things? I can't tell you.
Wow.
But they could do some things.
Imagine this theory in today's day and age. It would go off the charts. Any conspiracy theory does. So it would be crazy. June 25th has been set for the trial date in the Cobb County charges. Tom, who is eligible for bond after serving 2 months, is still in jail.
Holy.
Wow. Mr. Payne said that Senator Johnson told them that he had filed for a bond for Tom, but that Judge McKenzie said in open court that Johnson had never filed for the bond. Mr. Bostic said they had made appeals to get bond, but that they had not filed for a formal petition for it because of the holds in the other counties. Yeah. If they got Tom freed, they felt that they'd just be taken in there. So we went over that yesterday. So the whole point is they think it's a conspiracy between the Hawks, the defense lawyer, the University of Kentucky. Right. It goes all the way up to the presidency, is what this is. Nixon's involved in this. Do you understand? Yeah. It's huge. You can roll up Watergate right in this. It's all part of it. Yeah. Same guys. On the way to the Watergate, they stopped over and did this shit.
Framed this man for rape several times.
Several times. And it's because the Hawks feel they've made a bad draft pick. That is a wild strategy still.
It's a stretch.
Sam Bradford would be in prison. In prison forever. The Rams would have 100.
That motherfucker
100% put him away forever.
Yeah, he'd be prolific for what he's done.
Maybe Ray Rice didn't punch his wife. We don't know. Maybe it's all doctored. They got a Ray Rice lookalike, and they were like, finally, God damn it, that contract. No, this is crazy.
So tired of paying, hey, diddle diddle Ray Rice up the middle. He only did one big play.
My God. So June 28th, 1973, Payne attacker, this woman maintains her story, is a big article here. The Cobb County woman maintained in court Thursday that she was raped by Tom Payne, despite defense contentions that she could have been mistaken. A short time earlier, Payne's Cobb Superior Court trial had come to a brief halt when the woman, at first mention of the incident last year, broke into uncontrollable squeals. He was crying.
Really?
Yeah, not like squeals like she just saw the Beatles in 1963. Yeah. I would assume it would be not of joy. Yeah, not of joy.
She's upset.
Yeah. She's a little upset, yeah. She wasn't throwing her panties out there, I doubt.
No.
So, following the recess, at that point, the defense lawyer moved for a postponement in the trial for the purpose of having the woman undergo a psychiatric examination to determine if her testimony would be, quote, influenced by hysteria. Okay. Oh. Imagine right now, 1973. Imagine 2024. Yeah. There's a rape trial.
Yeah.
And the woman is describing being raped, and she's upset about it. And the defense lawyer says, I'd like to get her a psychiatric examination. I feel like she's influenced by hysteria. Like that. Oh, my God. That guy would be.
Seems to be hysterical, Your Honor.
That guy would be clubbed to death on the courtroom steps as he left.
We need somebody who can handle a rape a little bit better.
Wow, that is amazing. She's all emotional about being raped by a giant. What the fuck?
I can't imagine.
He also moved for a mistrial because the impact of the woman's emotional outburst may have had on the jury. Yes, she's a rape victim upset about being raped.
Probably the worst experience of her life, you guys.
Yeah, even if you're a horrible, like a real asshole misogynist who doesn't care at all, you'd still know enough to go, pretend you care about the rape victim. You know what I mean? Pretend you're not a complete monster who's...
Have a heart for rape victims. How hard is that?
Wild shit, man. The judge, Howell C. Raven, rejected both motions but cautioned the jurors against being swayed by emotional outbursts. The 43-year-old woman testified that a car had followed her as she returned home from work on May 25th, 1972, and just after she got home, a man suddenly appeared and pulled her from the car. According to the testimony, she was taken with a coat held over her head in the backyard and raped. We knew about that. She later identified Payne both in photographs and from a police lineup as her assailant. The defense lawyer repeatedly questioned her as to whether she could have been mistaken in her identifying Payne. There's only so many times you can ask that of a rape victim if you're a defense attorney.
Are you sure it was him? That's all you got. Don't do it again.
Yeah. Are you sure you couldn't have been mistaken because blah, 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 blah? No, I'm positive it's him. That's it. Cut bait. It's over at that
keep
point.
Going back to it.
Yeah, you can now do that with other witnesses, not this one.
Yeah,
That's just dumb. Just not smart in front of a jury. He pointed out that at the time she told police her attacker was about 6'2" and weighed 180 pounds. Remember, we talked about that. She said it didn't matter because she remembered his face as being Payne's.
Okay,
but
yeah,
that's
there is
rough.
That too. Yeah,
because I think you would remember the tallest person I've ever seen close up. That's the thing.
Wow. Yeah.
You might remember he was literally the biggest person who's ever lived. I mean, 8 feet tall.
Yeah, in my
I
estimation,
9 feet
I've never
tall.
seen one bigger. Yeah.
So that I assume that's one thing. And the face thing, I don't really like people's identification of faces, but the MO fits what he does.
Right.
Covers
unless
them.
It's
follows,
a very
covers.
specific face.
Yeah, and wasn't that the one too where a neighbor got his license plate on his way out?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Right.
So I mean that's a tough one.
Your face and your car were both there.
That's rough.
You were framed.
Yeah, I was framed, man. My face, it's not my face. They lied. So on June 30th, 1973, the jury comes back and they find him guilty.
Oh, boy.
Of both rape and aggravated sodomy as well.
Yikes.
Not just regular, aggravated.
Yeah.
That's really put a little extra stank on it.
Yeah.
So that's not good. Again, another 7 men, 5 women in the jury deliberated 4 hours before the verdict. It was a 3-day trial. The statement after the verdict was read, but before sentencing, they said, "Do you want say anything for yourself, Tom?"
Any words? Yeah.
And he said, quote, "I'm a man. I'm all man." Okay, that is not the way you start out.
In a rape case?
That's not the way. Oh, Jesus. Tom.
Golly.
That's the way you want to start out?
That is so tone deaf.
You want to be fucking James Brown out here right now?
I'm the hardest working man in show
I'm a
business.
man. That's what you're going to fucking do. That's what you're doing right now.
Golly.
I'm all man. Yeah, you're raped. We know you're all man. That's the point.
That's what you're accused of. Yeah.
Wow. That is, I don't even know what, he said this. "I'm a man. I'm all man. I stand 7'2". I'm proud and I don't lick anybody's shoe." That was his fucking statement.
Go back. That rhyme?
Yeah.
He threw a rhyme at him?
7'2". I'm proud and I don't lick anybody's shoe. Yeah.
It rhymes.
I think he
gave us some
rhymed.
poetry.
I think he just made a song.
Oh my God, Tom, don't do that.
Then he turned to the rape victim and said, quote, "I'm telling you right now, I never saw that woman in my life before I came into this courtroom." To which she yelled, "Oh, yes, you have." This is not good for sentencing.
Oh, boy.
Not fucking good at all. So he faced a possible death sentence here, which is a lot, I would say. The assistant district attorney asked the jury to return the death sentence, but later called the jury back and told them he had reconsidered and felt he could not ask for the death penalty on the rape charge because of recent Supreme Court rulings on capital punishment. And so then that's amazing. The judge says, and this is amazing, he looks at Tom Payne and says, "Sir, you are an affront to everything America stands for." You, sir, may fuck off. 15 years in prison.
Okay, that's good.
That's something. Yeah. He's already served 13 months of a 2-year sentence of the other sentence, so now he's got 15 years. An affront to everything America stands for.
No kidding.
You know you're getting banged pretty good by the judge when he starts out with "you're an affront to the country." Every little Boy Scout out there learning to tie knots.
You're an affront to that.
You're for every little leaguer out there taking a big swing, and for every apple pie sitting on a windowsill in the middle of this country, an affront.
The 57 Bel Air, you besmirch it.
You besmirch the Bel Air and the great memories of
hot dogs,
Calvin Coolidge. This is bonkers.
Fireworks on the 4th of July, you make them awful.
You make them awful, yeah. You fuck up hot dogs, you fuck it all up for us.
Everything.
You piece of shit. So, he's convicted here, and this is obviously bad for him.
That's a problem, yeah.
It's a problem for him, and he didn't help himself, I would say, at all.
Not by any stretch, no.
There, he didn't help himself. He could have said, I respectfully disagree. I don't think I did. He could have done all that, but to say, I'm not kissing your ass, and then turning and going, I never seen her before, is not the best way to do it.
Boots I don't kiss nor lick.
No shit. Payne's wife, in her testimony in his sentencing, before his sentencing, said that her husband, she said again, her husband was home with her, but now they have separated for some time.
Okay.
And now, after all this, she says, he was due to be in California for a game that night, and Mrs. Payne actually didn't know where the fuck her husband was that night.
Oh?
So she lied to create an alibi for him.
Not good.
And that didn't work out very well, and now they're separated, so now she's coming out and saying that she lied. So he needed to keep her close if he's going to lie. Man, I told the jury he never saw that woman before, anything at all. He corroborated his wife's testimony that he was home with her at the time the crime allegedly occurred. The DA then asked Payne how it was that his car had been positively identified as the car at the scene of the crime.
Excellent question, yeah.
Yeah, 6272, your car was there. Did you lend it to a 6'2" man with a hard dick and a predilection for being a scumbag? Any of that going on? He said that many people have access to my autos. And coincidentally, they rape the same way I do. I tell all of them about my method of wrapping their face in something and raping them,
Yeah. You got a couple of vehicles, James. How many people have access to your cars regularly?
2.
That's it.
And Sarah doesn't even like driving my cars. So really 1. She's like, I don't want to drive your car. She's very uncomfortable because she doesn't want to wreck it. So even though she's a fine driver and won't wreck it. Yeah, and she's welcome to them. Yeah, still. That's not, I don't have a whole bunch. I got neighbors. There's my boy comes over. I got a couple of cousins.
Anybody. Yeah,
I'm not. A couple of cousins come over and buy them. Yeah, borrow them all the time. I don't know what they're doing.
Everybody
they just
knows
take
where
them out
the
at
keys
night.
Are.
I tell them there's a dish towel in the back seat in case you go out raping, but
in case you see a pretty lady.
Yeah. So if someone says my car was there, but the guy was like 5'9", obviously it's just someone I lent it to, because I'm a lot taller than that.
And I'll be on my way home shortly.
Yeah, Jesus, that is insane.
Too much.
Very insane here. So yeah, he's in a lot of shit. He said, I based these statements on the facts of the trial testimony and the identification with which the police were given, and the fact that no legal identification of Payne was ever made. That's his defense attorney in final arguments here.
Yeah.
He said that we did not come here to beg, but we did come here for justice. The DA then got up and said that, give me a fucking break.
I'm
His
here
car
for justice,
was there.
too. That's convenient.
A lot of people have access to my cars. That's insane. The DA said to the jury, all these points and others tell you that the jury in this case, what you must do, and that's to render a verdict of guilty as charged. And that's what they did. So there you go. Okay. Wow. So he got less, though. He could have got the death penalty. The maximum just for the sodomy charge is 20 years. So he got 15 for a rape and sodomy, which is interesting here. I guess Payne's getting 10 years for the rape and 5 years for the charge of sodomy, and that's what the jury put in here. The judge said he would hold Attorney Moore, that is Tom's attorney, in contempt of court if anyone in the courtroom made a sound.
Oh.
Anyone. It's on you.
It's your fault. Yeah.
It's wow. That is something. He also added that the 15-year sentence would follow right after the 2-year sentence he received in Fulton County on another rape.
So 17.
After that, the attorney filed notice of appeal and in a statement said, we came here to get justice and we did not get it.
Right. Well,
we did not get it. Here we go. So now he's in jail. He just got convicted again. The next month, July 25th, 1973, his ex-cellmate sues him.
Sues?
So, yeah, that's a weird, his ex-cellmate sues him.
Haven't heard of that before.
That is interesting. He's being sued for more than $100,000 by a former cellmate who claims he was beaten severely by Payne last October. At least you weren't raped. I would be excited. Wow.
Count your lucky stars. Man.
He let me off easy. This is good. Payne has not responded to the suit, and a jury will be selected sometime in August to hear evidence and determine the amount to be rewarded. The Hawks are like, we're going to have to pay for this too. Can we set him up for something else that won't cost us anything?
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
In the suit, they said that he was an inmate at the Fulton County Jail on October 2nd, 1972, when Payne approached the man, cursed him, shouted obscene insults at him, and intentionally and maliciously struck him.
What did he say?
Who knows? Hey, motherfucker, what are you looking at? I mean, anything. He's in jail. Who knows what goes on?
And then struck him. So that's where the lawsuit comes in.
Yeah. I don't think he hurt his feelings, probably.
Okay. All right.
He called me a name, and I didn't appreciate it. Isn't something you can sue for in jail, probably.
I was
a good beating, maybe.
I saw a little bit of pride left being in prison, and he took it.
He took it from me with that. You know what? The insult, the problem is it was accurate. You know what I mean? He really, it was like a roast joke.
He found the one.
He delved to the pit of my soul, and he really, he culled an onion and pulled it right out. Wasn't good.
Yeah.
He said Brown claimed he was in great fear because of Payne striking him and using threatening gestures. Yeah. Okay. Struck Brown several more times in the head, shoulders, and abdomen as he was struggling to his feet after the first blow.
So they had a fight.
Yes.
I mean, that's a fight.
Not much of a fight. It was a beating. He said, I don't want to fight you giant. And then this giant person beat the living shit out of him, I think is how this worked.
But it sounds like they had a fight. And
yeah,
I don't know, man.
At what point does a fight become a beating? I think when one of the people isn't interested in it, it's just a beating at that point.
Sounds like it, yeah.
You know, so a court jury heard of the Payne case last week was unable to reach an agreement on the amount of money to give Brown. A courthouse source said the jurors' opinions on the judgment ranged from $10,000 to $35,000. Jesus Christ. Now, Payne, apparently, while he's in jail here, following his first trial, another inmate gave testimony that Payne assaulted 2 or 3 other prisoners who'd been placed in a cell.
God.
Apparently, what they're saying here is when they put a white guy in a cell, he beats the shit out of him.
Okay.
Doesn't want to be paired up with a white guy, and that's his way of broadcasting that to the prison.
It also sounds as though he doesn't want to be in a cell with anybody.
I think he's pretty angry that he should be in the NBA and he's instead here. But I mean, he couldn't be more of an unforced error than raping people.
Yeah.
The former inmate, whose identity is being kept secret by authorities, made a sworn statement before the judge. Payne knocked one man to the floor with a blow to the stomach, then picked him up and struck him 2 or 3 more times, according to the witness. He then struck another white prisoner 8 or 10 times and another one a few times, the witness said in his sworn statement. A former inmate testified that he reported the incident to the officials at the jail as he was being released, and the officials told him they would remove the 5 or 6 white prisoners from the cell with Payne and about 10 other blacks. That's what that's. So.
He did. Was that all in one sitting? He fought all those people at the same time?
I think he just goes around knocking the shit out of people. He's enormous.
Yeah.
7'2",
he's
and
one
he's
of those
not
dudes.
Bully's 260. He's a big dude. The torque on if this guy hits you, you're fucked. Imagine how big his fists are.
Yeah.
They're huge.
But I've seen those videos.
Skull.
Yeah, I've seen those videos in traffic where like one dude knocks out 3 dudes. That is frightening, man. That is a dangerous human being.
It is. It is. By the way, right under that, people who've had a worse time than people getting beat in jail by Tom Payne. Yeah. Bus dive kills 17 in Hong Kong.
What?
17 Chinese were killed and 23 others were injured. Only the Chinese people died, though.
They're not long for this world of traffic accidents.
I guess not. They're fragile in a traffic accident. They're like Fabergé eggs when they get hit by another car. Or injured when a bus crowded with holidayers plunged 300 feet into a ravine.
Wow.
On one of Hong Kong's outer islands. 300 feet is far as shit. That takes a while. Imagine being on a bus plunging 300 feet. Are we ever going to hit the ground? Holy shit. You'd go, we're still going. Holy fuck. It's so far.
I don't want to be insensitive or anything, but was there a
who's
U.S.
driving?
military boat?
Is that what you're getting? Yeah.
No.
Oh,
was there?
I thought you were going to make a bad Asian driver joke. I was like, who's driving? Where you're going? I so expected you to make that from the start. I was just waiting for it.
I was trying not to.
I know that's your first instinct. So I had to. And it's not even about being offensive. It's just hacky.
Yeah, right. But was there like a carrier down there in the ravine? Were they kamikazing the boat into it?
Yeah, that's Japanese.
Oh, were they? They were Korean. All right. Well,
they're Chinese.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm parsing
17 Chinese were killed in Hong Kong, which is part of fucking China.
All right.
Why is it full of Japanese and Korean people?
All right. Well, who was driving then?
There you go. Just say that and get it over with.
Jesus Christ.
By the way, there's a lot of jokes out there that people are offended by that joke. They should be offended by the hackiness, not the. I'm so tired.
The embarrassment.
Just because you dug up a joke that Archie Bunker rejected in 1972 doesn't fucking mean that you're a comic genius. It just means you're an old hack.
Thanks,
we have Lenny Bruce. Appreciate you.
And just comedy in general.
Not you.
It just might. I get it.
Yeah.
Comedy in general just might be done. It's just.
I don't know, man. It's too acceptable to be a hack now. It's too acceptable.
Yeah.
It's absolutely acceptable to tell jokes that would have gone over on Evening at the Improv in 1987 from major comics who know better. It's fucking gross.
Yeah, it's not even just that it's. These are people, James, that want to be the center of attention, and they don't love comedy. So I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think these people realize that the joke's been done. I don't think they know it.
I think they have to.
I don't think they do.
I think there's no way they think of the basic shit and go, no, I'm sure no one's ever said that before.
I don't think they even question that.
You know
because
what I mean?
they thought it, so they don't care. Because they thought it. But of course you thought it because you're not a genius.
Yeah. No shit. The problem, I don't know if it's the people. It's the guy. The problem is these comics know that the audience doesn't know.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. So they're just like, I can get away with this because the audience doesn't know. And comics, it used to be they didn't do that because other comics would call them out and call them hacks and nobody would talk to them basically. But they've all, now there's a pact. Yeah. I won't call out your bullshit. You don't call out my bullshit. And we'll all be terrible, hacky comics.
When we are called out, we will all gang pile
Yep.
and bully that person
Yep.
into submission saying, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, and I'm fucking done with that shit. I want no fucking part of it. And
it's gross, man.
That's why I'm thrilled that we have podcasts and we don't have to go out there and pretend to defend assholes who are hacks, or pretend that hacks that are very famous are really good, great guys that I want to work with real bad. Fuck you people.
Because I need the money for the weekend.
Yeah. Fuck you people. Don't need any of you.
Yeah.
I'd much rather tell them to fuck off. It doesn't hurt me at all.
Until this audience fires me.
That's it. Yeah, you're the only people that can fire us. That's it. Nobody else, and everybody else can fuck off. So anyway, dead Chinese. Moving on. Somehow.
They were all driving. This bus had so many steering
They let them take turns driving. That was the problem. They said, your turn, and then another one. A little old lady waddled up there.
You say turn? No, don't turn.
So there's an Atlanta Voice article from July 28, 73. Payne case receiving coverage in New York. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you? It's the NBA. It would receive coverage everywhere, I would imagine. Right. They said it's receiving considerable coverage in New York City by the Daily World, which carried several stories following Payne's most recent trial in Cobb County. So they're talking about this, and the articles written by reporter Mike J. quote Payne's attorney, Howard Moore, at length and speak of the defense movement underway here, headed by George Williams and Drum Major for Justice. According to the clippings, Attorney Moore is quoted as having called the Payne case Scottsboro all over again. Scottsboro is the case in which 9 black youths 32 years ago were convicted of raping 2 white women in Alabama by an all-white jury. 8 were sentenced to death, and the youngest, 13, was sentenced to life imprisonment. The same interests that were served in Scottsboro case are being served now. This is a quote, by the way, from the article. The same forces are in control. People have to raise the demand that Tom Payne is a political prisoner. There is a need to struggle against the system until the system is changed, Moore said. Moore told the world that he has filed a motion for a new trial pending August 28th. If it's denied, as we expect it will be, we will appeal to the Supreme Court in Georgia. Then we'll go to the U.S. Supreme Court. So, asked if he believes that a conspiracy against Payne exists, Moore replied, a conspiracy in the sense that you have people in power in Kentucky and Atlanta who think the same way. Conspiracy is inherent in capitalism and racism. While Payne's teammates on the Hawks are behind him, Moore noted that the management of the ball club hasn't lifted a finger on his behalf. Well, they did pay for his defense attorney. I mean, that was...
What are you going to do?
He said they've kept their hands off. They are quite willing to sacrifice Tom Payne rather than offend some people here. Dude, offend some people here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's offend everybody. What are you talking about? He's a rapist. It's hard to... That's a wild...
He's really going to try and claim that he didn't do it, huh?
He's going to, which is crazy when later on happens. So, this is like... the difference that the reason why I think we're doing these in a similar time frame is Reuben Carter was the same deal. Hurricane was during this period, almost the same time period and all this. Well, it was a few years earlier, but Hurricane actually had this going on.
Yeah. He actually had a claim,
He actually, had a claim of actual innocence and of people, just trying to get these people. There was just
cleaning up clearing a case there to clear a case, right?
Whereas this is like multiple rapes.
It's
just not the same thing.
It's
all.
Crazy to say I've been accused of rape conspiratorially multiple times.
Yeah, by different women in different places. They're not
that doesn't
3
happen.
Sisters or like 3 friends or
that doesn't happen. These are completely unrelated people.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, and he says like at another time they're like it's because he's famous. Well, there isn't that many rape allegations against everyone else in the NBA. So what's going on?
Generally,
what are we talking
smoke
about
and fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bill Russell didn't have just 10 rape allegations a year coming down on him at this point. It wasn't happening.
He's just got that many rings.
That's it. So Moore said the case of Payne serves also to highlight the exploitation of black athletes in U.S. society. He described the college athletic scene as a form of peonage and noted that Payne was treated quite shabbily by the University of Kentucky, though he was the team's star center. They treated him like a black slave whom they were using, Moore added. Drum Majors for Justice is seeking to mobilize public support for a campaign to free Tom Payne.
Wow.
Free Tom Payne. Wow. August 18th, 1973. This is again Atlanta Voice. The conspiracy to illegally lynch Payne continues in a different way. These headlines have gone way different, right?
Yeah.
The plot being waged by certain white so-called power wielders in Atlanta and their paid black collaborators to destroy young basketball player Tom Payne continued at the Fulton County Superior Courthouse on July 24th, 73, when Judge Jack Etheridge illegally permitted a civil suit filed against Payne by a habitual convict to be brought to trial while Payne languished in Fulton County Jail, totally unaware the trial was being held. It was in the fucking newspaper. We knew it was being held.
You knew.
Payne, who has been illegally incarcerated, they're just not even like...
They're not...
It's
saying it.
Like,
What?
it's just a fact of life. He had been illegally incarcerated since May of 72, was charged in a civil suit with severely beating a convicted dope pusher in the county jail last October. The case was heard in Fulton County Superior Court by Judge Etheridge, who apparently held the hearing without Payne being present, even though he was aware of Payne's incarceration. In an article which appeared in the Atlanta Journal July 25th, 1973, under the byline of Ken Boswell, it was reported, quote, Payne has not responded to the suit and a jury will be selected sometime in August to hear evidence and determine the amount to be awarded by default. It says, in parentheses, to the convicted dope pusher plaintiff, out of parentheses. According to Boswell's article, the convicted dope pusher, Jesus Christ, was identified as Jerry Brown, quote unquote. Payne, who's still being held in the Fulton County Jail illegally without bail, when asked about the alleged episode, stated, I wonder what they'll come up with next. It wasn't enough to accuse me of falsely of raping and attempting to rape of 13 white suspected prostitutes. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that number.
I haven't heard prostitutes at all. Where'd that go?
Yeah, I've heard normal women and only 2.
Wow. Now I'm supposed to be out here in jail attacking white dope addicts and homosexuals. Oh. If any of that mess is true, why haven't the deputies placed criminal charges against me? All this crap is nothing but another attempt to further assassinate what little character I might have left after being railroaded through their kangaroo, unjust, white racist court. If blacks in Atlanta fail to see now that I'm being framed by a group of white power wielders and it can't read it, it's in the paper, of their paid black collaborators, I feel sorry for them. When asked if he would name some of the blacks who he felt were collaborating with the white power wielders against him, Payne immediately responded, Senator Leroy Johnson and Herman Russell. Okay. That's his lawyer.
That's the two, yeah.
That's the two. Senator Johnson, who's also an attorney, was allegedly hired by the Hawks owner to represent Payne when he was charged. So Herman Russell is a black businessman who owns a small interest in the Atlanta Hawks basketball team. Owns a minor interest? The hell's he? Wow. Okay. Russell, the only black board member of the Board of Governors of the Atlanta Hawks, has been completely silent on Payne's predicament. Oh, because he hasn't defended him. Several...
What?
Wow. Several black community organizations have charged the Atlanta Hawks owners with being a party to a conspiracy to frame Payne. Ken Russell's article in the Atlanta Journal stated Brown said in the suit that he was an inmate at the Fulton County Jail, and that's the whole suit that we talked about before. They're saying that that's not true.
Yeah, but the accusations he's making, and then they're like, and they don't even have any comment. Yeah, because this is ridiculous. I'm not going to comment on something that's so ridiculous.
That's fucking wild. They said when the human rights leader asked the editor if the sworn statement allegedly given to Judge Etheridge by a former inmate whose identity is being kept secret by authorities was a fact or just the white inmate's account of what happened between Brown and Payne at the jail. Unable to answer the question, the city editor made some excuse about having to meet his paper's deadline and hurriedly hung up the phone. Boswell had stated in the article, the former inmate whose identity was being kept secret has sworn that Payne, we told you, all the other things there that he did. So apparently, if the former alleged white inmate is telling the truth, why is it necessary for his identity to be kept secret by authorities? The fact that Judge Etheridge and other law enforcement officials would endeavor to keep the identity of a former convict a secret who has made a derogatory, damaging sworn statement against Payne, whose incarceration is believed to be illegal, without giving Payne the opportunity to present his version of what happened, if anything, to the court, is in itself an act which constitutes the basis for blacks in Atlanta charging certain persons with vengefully conspiring to destroy Payne. My God. In an exclusive interview with Payne at the county jail, Payne was asked if he knew the former convict Jerry Brown. He said, quote, "The only white inmate named Brown in the cell with me was some guy they brought in one night charged with pushing dope. When they put him in the cell, he looked as if he was strung out on dope himself." That's all he said. So a later check of the records at the Fulton County Criminal Clerk's Office revealed Jerry Brown in the files with a long list of arrests, convictions, and prison sentences. The convictions and sentences covered crimes of almost every description imaginable, including dope peddling.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we're fed up with conspiracies, apparently.
Yeah.
Right under that, there's a letter to the editor that says,
What's that say?
Fed up with homosexuals.
Oh, had enough of them.
Fed up with these people sucking each other's dicks. I'm fed up. Had it up to here.
Same sex in their fucking mouths. It's not fair.
Dear editor, okay, this thing is getting out of hand, it says.
What?
What I am referring to is the increasing number of homosexuals and female impersonators seen in this city every day.
Oh.
Not even on TV, in the movies, on Sesame Street.
Just people wandering around.
They're existing.
They're doing...
Yes, so are
free to be
crackheads or anything else.
And shit. It's fucked up.
A lot of other shit you don't like probably is what people are doing. You know, people don't like Christmas are out there. There's all sorts of people. He said, it used to be I could go for several months without seeing one. Now I can't go an entire day without seeing a sickening minimum of 5.
Oh. She's counting.
I say a sickening minimum because to myself, that's just what it is. Sickening. The very sight of them. There also used to be a time when the female impersonator used to mind his own business and wasn't too keen about letting everybody know what he was.
Impersonator.
Just keep it behind closed doors is what they're saying there. But oh boy, not now. He's bolder than ever. Too bold, if you ask me. I feel like no one's asking you, but all right. I remember when they only messed with their own kind. Now they're whistling, howling, grabbing, and trying to make a play at everybody. And the white ones are worse than the black ones at trying to take you out. I ain't talking from hearsay either. And he said, I ain't talking in a letter to the editor. When night falls, you wouldn't believe Hunter Street was the same street. They are all out in the streets, hanging off of cars, wearing long wigs. That's because a lot of guys like you are going to get blowjobs for fucking $10. Yeah. That's the reason. A lot of guys you work with who claim to hate these guys, those are the guys getting blowjobs.
Yeah, these people show up there because that's where the business is, man.
That's where the guys who want to give and receive blowjobs are. Hanging off cars, wearing long wigs, lipsticks, and scorcher pants. They're too short to be hot pants, he says. So now they're... What is this, some kind of new fad? Is this the in thing? I don't ever plan to be in.
Is that what it is? You've got the choice there?
I guess no one's asking you to be in anyone's butthole. That's not what they're asking.
Wants you in? It's up to you, man.
He said, if we, the black men, are going to lead the struggle, how in the name of Marcus Garvey are we going to do it? If some of us are strung out on dope, incarcerated in prisons, killing each other, Uncle Tomming and trying to be sisters, how can we get anywhere if we are going to try to be sisters? As I mentioned before about the white homosexuals, now I'm not for integration too much from Jump Street, so I wish they would stop pestering me altogether.
Oh, they're hitting on him.
Yeah, he's saying, maybe I'd let you suck my dick if you were black, but not a white guy. Can't do that. He said, maybe I'm not fair in degrading them without first truly understanding them. Well, there you go. You should have started with that. I do not understand what makes a homosexual, whether it's mental, some physical disorder, or what. I just don't know. But I do know... disorder. But I do know one thing. I'm not going to accept them once I find out. Once I find out, I'm still going to hate them.
I still dislike the whole thing.
If some type of treatment won't bring them back to normal, and if they don't want to be normal acting males again, then they should be deported to some far-off volcanic island or be exterminated.
Whoa. Okay, hold on.
I think a country tried that already.
And a gay island? I assure you, they would love that.
He's never been to Fire Island, this man, apparently. Because they already have a gay island. You didn't know. There's several of them. Yeah. There are several gay islands.
Yeah.
Extermination is...
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think the Germans had that same idea. But I would...
There's a few non-desirables that they want to get rid of.
But then he's going to go on and just show how magnanimous he is, though. He said, but I would rather see them receive some kind of medical treatment. Before we start stuffing them into volcanoes, let's see if we can fix them first.
Love to see him with an IV to flush this shit out of him.
Oh, my God. Stan Washington, that is. Good job, Stan. Holy crap.
You put your name in there, Stan?
Put your name on it, Stan. He did. So here is the 1974 appeal for the 1971 March of 71 rape here. He argues that the victim's identifications of him were not credible because she had never given a description of a rapist which actually fit Payne, as we figured out there. Her neighbors told her that after the attacks, told the police that after the attack she was hysterical, and her first description was given shortly thereafter while she was still hysterical.
Okay.
So that's what they were saying. The police report of her statement showed she described him as a black male, 6'2", medium build, dark-toned skin, clean-shaven, short hair, rotten teeth, and a stutter. One detective testified that she told him that her initial statement to the Cobb County Police was that the rapist was 7 feet tall, but they thought she was exaggerating and encouraged her to reconsider. And I thought of that a long time ago. If she said he was 7'2", they'd go, ma'am, I get that he was scary and big.
Yeah,
but he's 7'2". Maybe something a little more.
Yeah, how many people have you met that's 7 feet tall?
Yeah, maybe he was tall, but maybe more like 6'2" or 6'3", and I could very easily see them.
Is it possible that somebody 6'4" might look 7'2" in a fear state?
And they were trying to prevent it from being some 6'2" guy saying, well, I'm not 7 feet tall. She said the guy was 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
That's what they were
We're trying to
thinking.
solve this. Yeah,
because honestly, how many rapes are committed by people that are 7'2"? It's very extremely rare, I would assume. So that's interesting. She also testified she never saw him standing and was unaware of his height, except that he was a lot taller than her. That's all she knew.
Yeah, right.
So with reference to his teeth, the victim testified that she had never stated they were rotten, but they appeared to have a defect. She could not remember whether or not she said he had stuttered. Payne urges that no testimony was given that he actually stuttered. However, the following sentence appears at the midpoint of his unsworn statement, which ran 15 pages in transcript. This is Payne's statement. Quote, I've tried all my life to do the right thing.
Oh, man.
I mean, I don't know if that's a stutter, but it's a hitch in your giddy up.
Well,
it's definitely a little
I've also seen transcripts where the word is said over and over, but there's a pause in the where they're trying to think of what their next move is, and usually that's a guilty person, to be honest.
He might have been using the do as an ellipses there.
Yeah.
Do as he's thinking, but the last words are the right thing, which is all that you could put on the end of that. All my life I've tried to do the right thing. What was he thinking of? What could I say I've been trying to do all my life? The wrong thing. No, not the wrong thing. Successful rape? No, that's not it.
The raping.
Shit,
I mean, the right thing.
The right thing. That's what it is. Glad I used those extra do's.
Yeah.
So in light of the fact that Payne was not arrested until almost 2 months after the attack, any possible issue of whether the assailant was scratched in the struggle, as the victim might have reported, becomes moot. There's no substance to Payne's assertion that his physical characteristics eliminate him as a rapist. Payne's argument addressed the lineup procedures. Is that due process is required the exclusion of the victim's in-court identification of him because the October 7th photographic display was so impermissibly suggestive as to rise to a very substantial likelihood of irreparable misidentification, which was the last enunciated in another case.
But the event is so fucking specific. It's so hard to... I've never heard of a towel being used in multiple rapes.
That's his jam. They said even assuming that the victim noted the height for each man in the 1 or 1.5 minutes during which she viewed the 16 photographs, the fact that Payne was one of only 2 men over 6 feet tall did not make the 8-man display impermissibly suggestive. Their display might have been more nearly perfect had a larger percentage of the men been taller, but that is not the quality of suggestiveness which invalidated pretrial identifications.
Yeah.
So another case stated that in a different case, the defendant was one of only 3 men in a lineup. He was 5 or 6 inches taller than the other 2, and he wore a jacket similar to the one the robber had worn. In another case, 2 out of 3 photographs exhibited to a victim were of the defendant, and one of the 2 had a mustache drawn on it. What if he had a mustache? How about a Hitler mustache?
Yeah. Now we're just woolly-willying him? What are we doing?
What if we put horns on him now? Was he the devil? Did the devil rape you?
Color his eyes red. What about
Oh,
this?
my God. That's fucking funny. By contrast to those cases, here, the other 7 men were 6 feet 4 inches, 5 foot 11 inches, 5 foot 10 inches, 5 foot 7 inches, 5 foot 6 inches, and 2 were 5 foot 9 inches. Here, no man was the 6 foot 1 or 6 foot 2, as the police report indicated the victim had first estimated, but 5 of the men were within 4 inches of that height, above or below it, and none of those 5 were Payne. Okay, so they said we need not consider the second portion of the test to determine whether suggestiveness had contributed to the misidentification because they've already ruled the photographic display was not impermissibly suggestive. They say that we need not dwell long on Payne's attack on the May 22nd lineup, with respect to which his argument is basically unfair to the record. The May 22nd lineup is claimed to have prejudiced him in 2 respects. There was no reason to include Payne, and that the seating of the other participants on items to make them seem nearer his height deprived him of the most outstanding physical characteristic, his height of 7 foot 2 inches. They made it fair where they made all the guys the same height, remember?
Yeah.
And they made it fair that way. He's saying that made it unfair. Because he would have stood out as being tall and not the person.
But the face, though, if you know what somebody looks like and you see them, you know them. You know what I mean?
The problem with this is, if we're talking about, I saw somebody run down the street after they robbed the bank. Yeah. That's a terrible ID.
It's not good, yeah.
You saw a stranger for 2 seconds. You have no idea what that person looks like.
But this
if
is
someone raped you
Yeah.
and came up and put fear in your heart. Now, she was
face in your face.
She was covered up after a minute, but that would be a different story. It's a way more intimate thing. You might remember a face hardcore. Yeah. It might be seared into your memory, as opposed to, I saw my cousin Vinny kids leaving the fucking the bucket of suds or whatever the fuck it was.
Pontiac Tempest versus what was the other one?
Yeah,
what were they driving?
The Buick Skylark.
Skylark, that's it.
Skylark, yeah.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them, or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
I'm like, not a Cadillac, a Buick Skylark. So, that's what he says. Now, with reference to whether there was a reason to include him in the May lineup, on April 20th, the month before the lineup, Payne had been identified by the victim as possibly the rapist.
Sure.
On April 16th, more than a month before the lineup, another woman had identified a car registered to Payne as that driven by her assailant who employed a similar MO. Prior to the lineup, Atlanta had 3 rapes employing the same MO used in the instant rape, which took place in Cobb County near Atlanta. Payne's argument essentially is that the fact that he was a tall black male described by the victim, together with the fact that the victim described a MO also used in Atlanta and tentatively attributed to Payne, was inadequate reason for placing him in the lineup. Just because his car was there, he was tentatively identified, and his MO was multiple rapes. Why would you bring me in for that?
It's not me.
That is crazy. Yeah, the Supreme Court here the state Supreme Court says this contention is frivolous. To the extent to which Payne argues it was improper for the Atlanta police to assist in the investigation of a Cobb County rape and for a suspected Cobb County rapist to be exhibited in an Atlanta police lineup, the argument is totally without merit. So keep on keeping on there, Tommy
That's
boy.
That's good. He's just trying to muddy the waters and turn it political or polarizing. He's trying to polarize the case so bad that they can't try it.
Well, I think it's also a matter of he's trying to Reuben Carter this thing.
Yeah.
He's got to see what happened there.
Yeah.
Celebrity athlete, blah, blah, blah. People helped him and he got out. So I think he didn't get out yet during this, but I think he's seeing that this publicity helps a lot and it's making people on his side. So he's trying to do it.
Just
and he's going to appeal.
Out there. Yeah.
Just legally, everybody's going to appeal. So there's that. But it's a tough case for him. 1977 here.
Okay.
A woman comes forward named Nancy Monath, Monath, and she says that on August 20th, 1971, she reported to the Louisville Police Department that she had been attacked by a young, quote, tall, colored male, light complected.
Okay.
The petitioner was taller than her estimate of height, heavier, and his skin was darker brown, she says. Several months after she was attacked, Mrs. Monath received a telephone call and was told there was a suspect in her case. She was not requested to identify a suspect until 1977.
God, 6 years?
She called saying, wow. And they said 6 years later, hey, remember that thing you called about? I mean, yeah, I do. I didn't think you did.
Yeah. Remember that trauma you've been living with?
Wow. We finally got around to it. Yeah. I'm telling you should have seen my desk. Papers, high. 6 years worth.
It's all clear. Congratulations.
All clear. It's your turn now. Wow. May
Tell
19.
Me great job.
Please. I need reinforcement. May 1977. The state's prosecutor asked her to come to his office to see if she could identify photographs of a suspect in her case. The prosecutor believed that the prosecutor showed Ms. Monath 3 pictures, all of which were of Tom Payne. Here's 3. Any of these guys? That is not okay.
Not so much that guy. Maybe that one. Definitely this guy.
It's this one. Yeah, that's...
Are you sure it's not all 3, ma'am?
Fucking crazy. Yeah, and she identified him, obviously, because there's no one else to identify. Payne was not indicted for the Horn and Monmouth offenses of detaining females until May of 1977. He's going to be indicted for this now.
Oh, boy.
On September 10th, 1971, he was questioned by Louisville police relating to the Thompson complaint, but released even while publicity about him indicated he was about to go to Georgia to sign a contract for basketball. Or after arriving in Georgia for his basketball career, that's when he was arrested, obviously, for those.
Right.
Kentucky promptly placed a detainer on him. I guess that was for this type of shit. So Payne made his first action through the retained counsel and to dismiss the Kentucky indictment a few weeks after Kentucky moved to acquire custody of him. Payne was returned to Kentucky's custody in March of 1977. Over Payne's objection, the cases involved 4 sexual offenses against females were consolidated for trial. His counsel also moved to dismiss the second indictment on grounds of lack of speedy prosecution. You know, it's been 6 years.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
But he was overruled. Payne was tried in September 1977 and convicted here on 3 of the 4 counts. One of the victims, I guess, was hospitalized and unable to appear. The charge involving her was continued and then subsequently dismissed.
Okay.
Each of the females involved made a in-court identification of Payne during the trial, and he's going to appeal that as well, saying that he was denied a speedy trial, prejudicial pre-indictment delay, and improper and prejudicial joinder of the offenses. And they said, get the fuck out of here. No.
They're still trying them.
Yeah. So November 3rd, 1983, Tom is free.
Really?
He is a free man, free as a bird. Absolutely. Well, not really free. He's on parole, but he's released. So he will leave the Kentucky State Reformatory on parole here. And he said, basketball, I'll just wait and see. What are you waiting for?
It might be done.
I think you're done. He's 32, which I mean, he's 290 pounds at this point.
Oh,
he says,
boy.
I'll deal with it on a day-to-day basis. Basketball has not been my predominant thought. I'm going to sit down with my family and talk everything over with them. I will take the best avenue for them. If they are willing to go through the stresses and strains of public life, I'd like to give it a chance. Who is hiring you?
It's certainly going to be my avenue for the most money.
Holy fuck. Al Davis doesn't own a football team.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones doesn't own a basketball team. Neither does Jerry Jones. No one's hiring you, dude.
Yeah.
Payne was a standout performer for Louisville, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but he's in prison now. Payne has maintained his innocence through the years, and his case is now before the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Cincinnati. They said, this is the chairman of the state parole board, said, we recommended him for parole with the special consideration that he must be specially supervised for 6 months by a parole officer. The Tom Payne that tasted freedom in 1972 is not the same person who's walking around this week, is what this guy said. He said, he deserved the time he got, but he's changed a great deal. I hope the public in Louisville and the Louisville community will not get on his case. Get on his case.
Hope they don't hold this against him, really?
Wow. As part of his parole agreement, Payne will work as a welder for a security door company in Louisville.
Ooh.
A giant welder.
He's building doors that keep people like him out.
Exactly. With an apron that comes barely above his cock. That's not going to be good. He's basically, by the way, he is still on the Hawks suspended list, technically.
Really?
Yeah. The Hawks still have his rights because it was like, whatever. If the Hawks decide to keep Payne, what? No, that's not going to happen. They might have to honor the terms of the $750,000 contract. Under that no-cut pact, Payne was guaranteed $100,000 a year for 5 years, with the other $250,000 to be made in deferred payments early in the 80s. So Payne reportedly has collected only the first year of his contract.
Wow.
Hawks general manager Stan Kasten said, I honestly don't know if anybody has ever given a lot of thought to it. I'm not sure about the legalities, what rights a team retains. There's never been a case like this. We're really breaking new ground. We're pioneers over here.
Yeah.
The Louisville Catbirds, a CBA team that will debut this fall, had signed Payne to a contract but was subsequently voided by the CBA commissioner on the grounds that Payne is still the Hawks' property.
Okay.
Catbirds coach Ron Ecker and Payne's agent Jim Ellis agreed that the Catbirds would be ideal in terms of helping him adjust to society. He said, quote, "It would allow him to stay in town and get the chance to be with his family. Plus, it'd be a friendlier situation. It'd be hard for him to try to jump into the NBA and face all those big city fans and media people right away."
Yeah.
Oof. Payne gets the go-ahead, though, but the CBA restricts activity. Next, he's been given the go-ahead to play for the Louisville Catbirds. However, he'll be phased in gradually instead of being eligible for the Catbird season opener. I guess they're going to gauge how much backlash there is.
Just see who hates this the most.
If he's sitting on the bench, how many people will throw things at him actively? This is what we're doing here. So apparently, after meeting yesterday with Payne and his wife in the Catbirds offices, the CBA commissioner, Jim Drucker, approved his contract with these stipulations. From today's opening squad gathering until December 5th, he'll be allowed to practice only. From December 5th through January 5th, he'll be allowed to play only in home games.
Okay.
After January 5th, if Payne's adjustment to life out of prison has progressed satisfactorily, he will become a full-fledged player in the nation's only professional minor league. Last night, Drucker's plan was applauded by Jefferson County attorney J. Bruce Miller, part owner of the Catbirds. He said, "I told my partners in a note last week, important as to the return of professional basketball to Louisville, is the most important thing is what's best for this young man." That's the most important thing.
We really care.
Wow, the coach said, "I've had a chance to talk, have a lot of long talks with Tom. His attitude is really outstanding. He really wants to set an example in the sense that it's possible to come out of prison and make something out of yourself." Yikes. So there he is. He's going to play for Louisville, apparently.
Interesting.
Hasn't played in 11, almost 12 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
He said, the coach said, "Don't take this the wrong way, but he's much like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in terms of his athletic ability."
Is that right?
I don't remember Abdul-Jabbar going to prison for rape a whole bunch, though.
I'm not.
The trouble is the game has changed so much, and there's so much that time has stolen from him, but I would expect that by February he will be better than average CBA center, and by March he may be ready for the NBA.
Golly.
Wow. January 17th, 1984, Detroit Free Press has an article, "Rebuilding a Life. Ex-Kentucky ace putting prison behind him." It's a fluff piece. Yay!
Let's talk about it.
It's been a long time since he's had a fluff piece. Look at this. Unbelievable. After 11 and a half years in prison, he was greeted by neighbors who had tied huge yellow ribbons around trees in front of his Louisville home.
The old Southern thing. Put it around the oak tree, James.
Wow. But they're not like POWs. He was.
Yeah, we're waiting on him to get home.
He's a convicted rapist. Wow. With banners that read, "Welcome, we love you."
Oh, my God.
Jesus. Tom Payne still can't describe that homecoming or his nightmare-like past. They go on and talk about what he did here. Convicted of 3 of those, he spent 5 years in Georgia prison and 6.5 years in a Kentucky prison. Last November 4th, Tom Payne became a free man. He said, "When they first told me I was getting out of Kentucky State Reformatory in LaGrange, I was scared and shocked. Even when they told me, I thought they'd take it back. But when the parole board commissioner called to offer congratulations the day before I left, I was shaking. I just knew he was going to say they changed their minds." Now, Payne, 33, is rebuilding his life. He's rejoined his wife, Sue, and 2 children in Louisville.
Really?
Wow, that is an understanding woman.
She took him back.
Holy shit.
Unbelievable.
The raping, the being in prison, all these things.
Just
took
being
him
a
back.
terrible man.
My God. Jesus, and he's playing basketball again with the Continental Basketball Association's Louisville Catbirds. Payne is expected to play when Louisville meets the Detroit Spirits at 7:30 at the Cobo Arena. Man, so they talk about all of his arrests here and all of his things that go on here. They say the point, many Louisvillians think Payne was duped, framed, and denied fair trials.
All you got to do is say it a bunch and they'll believe it.
It's if you keep saying it publicly enough, they'll believe it. It happens a lot, and people just keep. There's people that thought OJ was innocent, so it doesn't matter. They point out that the police reports that some people think Casey Anthony's innocent.
That's unbelievable.
It doesn't. There is a swath of dumb out there for everybody.
Wow,
there really is.
Wow.
Wow. There was still people thought Ted Bundy was innocent as he was telling you how he murdered people.
Yeah.
So they said they point out that the police reports in some cases describe the rapist as 6'2", light skin with curly sandy hair. Payne is a foot taller, dark skin, and has thick black hair. Some of the rapes allegedly took place in Volkswagen and a Camaro, small cars that Payne would have trouble sitting in. He was convicted in one rape case, though a doctor testified he'd examined the victim and she showed no evidence of rape. Even Payne's attorney, assigned by the Hawks, appeared negligent in his defense, some say. Payne and his mother said when they asked for a bond that the attorney at the time replied, if you get out on bond for this one, they'll get you back in on another charge, so you might as well stay here.
Just don't even go, man. Just
don't even bother, bro.
Deal with this one and we'll just move along.
It's a waste of bond money. It's stupid. Others, especially members of Louisville's black community, believe the University of Kentucky was responsible for Payne's problems. They believe there was a vendetta against Payne for leaving Kentucky. All that's speculative and possible, Payne said, but I do know that somebody somewhere was behind it all. And I know I am innocent, but suffered.
It was somebody else.
He said suffer he did. Even the graphic descriptions of prisons you see on TV are a joke. Men were killed right in front of me. Even if I had any idea when I first went in that I'd be there 11 and a half years, I never would have made it. Every day, I almost gave up, but learned how to start each day out positive. At least begin it that way. It's a feat in itself that I survived that long in that environment. He said in prison he read speeches. His favorites were Martin Luther King and Franklin Roosevelt, and books.
FDR.
From then, he gained inspiration and education. His father and grandfather died while he was in prison, and he constantly fought off becoming bitter at the world. He said, and also committing suicide. Didn't want to do that.
Right.
He said, the first years I contemplated a lot of things, including suicide. I was particularly depressed and bitter. I was almost destroyed. He constantly told his wife, Sue, to enjoy the free world. But the fresh air, the free world, the fresh air, and take care of the children. But she said, I was in prison too.
Oh.
Yeah, she said, no one can really say how I feel and what I've been through. I was the head of the household, the breadwinner, and the father and mother in one. I confided a lot in Crystal, meaning that's the daughter, looking at and talking to her was like having Tom here. She was him in spirit and mind. Yeah, that's great for a kid.
Yeah.
You're going to be your imprisoned rapist dad now. For me, it makes me feel better. So
I need to embody the worst in society.
Jesus. She said, Tom went up too high too fast. The money and prestige, he became childish and forgot where he came from. When the Lord whips you, he whips you hard. All of this has made him a better father, husband, and person.
Oh, my God.
That is fucking wild. We went together even in high school. If I really believed he raped all those women, I wouldn't be here. So now I always look over my shoulder because I don't know what fool would try something at Crystal to try to rape her because of some feeling they have against Tom. Retaliatory daughter rape? What are we talking about? What year is this? What medieval fucking fiefdom does she think they live in?
Is that what happens?
I think maybe in the 1400s or something.
Rape
I know
for
that,
a rape? Is that what it is?
That's what the Bible says, I believe. Rape
eye
for rape.
For an eye, they really go far.
Well, that's the second line. They cut it out in some of the versions.
Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Now, if you
Rape
fuck
for
my
a
daughter, yeah, I'm gonna have to come for yours.
That's how it works. Wow. I don't trust anyone, and Tom goes nowhere without somebody with him. We follow him to the bathroom.
Okay.
Take a look at his 7'2" logs as they come out. The 3 years in prison have taken their toll on Payne, the article goes on to say here. He doesn't run, jump, and shoot like he used to. He played sparingly for the Catbirds, and the biggest problem is he lacks agility. He says being locked up 11 and a half years in prison will cause you to lose a couple of moves.
Sure.
A couple of moves? I would fucking say.
It
Jesus
should make
Christ.
you lose your whole fucking game, man.
Make you lose a couple of moves is a funny fucking way.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, yeah, he's trying to do this, but the physical attributes certainly are there. Payne can bench press 450 pounds and deadlift 550 pounds, and the Hawks in the NBA are watching. You know, they're not.
So he didn't. He's just gotten better and better. He didn't get fat. He got in shape.
He worked out. Yeah,
he got dangerous.
It's a lot of carbs. So if you don't work out, you're going to get fat in prison.
Yeah.
So he instead worked out. The coach said maybe he can make it back into the NBA. I know that now all he needs now to do is what is this? I know it's I know that now all he needs to do is succeed, even at this level. He needs to do once again to taste success. We didn't hire Tom on the basis of his past. Yeah, we're looking for a good rapist center. He's got to be tall and rapey. Do you have anybody like that?
I'm not hiring anybody that hasn't had a rape allegation.
I need a lot. Prison term, even better. That man has been first class and full of personality, but he hasn't felt the wrath of the fans yet, the name calling on the road, and maybe even at home. Payne played an average of just over a quarter, 13 minutes in Louisville's first 10 games. He scored a point in Louisville's 124-104 manhandling of the Spirits Friday night in Louisville, which vaulted the Catbirds into second place. He averaged 3 points a game, 3.7 rebounds, and has blocked 8 shots. He has shot 33% from the field, primarily because he has trouble handling the ball. Yeah. He said it's hard to get back into that competitive edge and the natural game flow. The game has changed, he said, and I'm still trying to find that chemistry. Yeah, he said, but I'm certainly not playing for the money. He earns $375 a week. He said, or just to get back to the NBA. I want people to get a chance to view me personally. He said, to accept my merits as a person. I want others to know that anyone, even after the trauma I've been through, can get back on their feet. But there will always be somebody there to take a pot shot. I've been through that before. They say Payne is articulate and says he's gained more education in prison than in college. Elaine, his mother, said he shows surprising realism and wisdom and has influenced his 2 brothers and sisters. Each is attending college or has earned a degree. They have studied fields ranging from law to medicine, accounting, and criminal justice. His mother said Tom is now enveloped with wisdom.
Yeah.
Wow, that is...
He's learned.
Phew. He now says he now says things I didn't think about and say till I was 45 or so. He's influenced the kids and all of our lives, reinforced them to educational growth. We're praying for his success and that he'll be happy. He now knows that even if you don't bother someone, that doesn't mean they won't bother you. He's been at the wrong place at the wrong time, been a victim of injustice, but now he's home.
Yeah.
Fluff, peace. Yeah. So he starts doing better and playing for the Catbirds too here.
Okay.
That's he's doing fine here. There's a game, 1,584 fans were there for this big game. Jesus, that is not a lot here.
It's a small crowd.
That's a little bit of a small crowd here. Payne said about another guy, he sat down for good with 1:18 left in the third quarter as he helped the Catbirds to an 85-84 lead with his season-high scoring total. He said he got mad at me because he only played 12 minutes in Wisconsin, McElroy said of Payne. Last night, Wednesday, it seemed like the game was passing him by. Tonight, he did things that he can do well. When Tom realizes his size and what he can do under the basket, we're a hard team to beat. And it looks like Payne had 31 minutes. He had 19 points.
Okay.
19 points, 10 boards, too.
Wow.
Not bad.
Double.
So,
continuing.
There you go. So April 7th, 1984.
Yeah.
How do you think this is going to progress? Obviously,
marriage.
To the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Nope, he's going to start boxing instead.
Is that right?
Yes, because as we know, 7'2" is a great height for boxers.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly doesn't. It's not hurting. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. According to it's going to be at a Golden Gloves event. According to Louisville tournament director Joe Martin, a good-sized crowd is expected, particularly because of super heavyweight Tom Payne. Here, they said, we've almost sold out all of our ringside seats.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be an exhibition on a fight of Golden Glovers to get people in there. April 20th, 1984, not 1974. There's an article, Can 7'2" Payne give an answer to an old question? Tom Payne lay stretched along the full length of a bed in a downtown hotel. He was naked to the waist. Okay, that's good. Jesus. He wore a pair of black sweatpants with Catbirds 44 embroidered on the upper thigh. When he stands up to say his hello, he swallows your hand with his. He's 7'2" and weighs 285 pounds.
Golly.
He has the body of a professional basketball player, which he was. Combined with the upper torso of a weightlifter, which he was, and the cautious, I've got all day patience, typical of men who've spent years in prison, which he has. Right now, they tell you he's a boxer. Oh, Lordy, is the article. Since Primo Carnera first stalked this earth, man has been wondering what would happen if someone like Tom Payne decided to earn a living with his fists. Carnera stood 6'8" and weighed 260 pounds and was world heavyweight champion for a couple years in the early 30s, but he was stiff and awkward, and if you dropped a $50 bill, he'd beat it to the floor.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the take, and he was a wrestler after that. He figured it out. Oh, fuck yeah, 6'8", 260, and a showman.
Yeah, be a heel and you can make some money.
Yeah, he said, but he raised the question, what would happen if you took an outsized man, one who was fast and athletic, and taught him how to box? Well, if you did it when he was 5, it would be great, but not when he's 35. Wouldn't he dominate the ring by sheer force of height and reach, or would a smaller, faster man get inside the arc of his fists and destroy him with shots to the body? Wilt Chamberlain used to muse about it. He thought he could beat Muhammad Ali. Ed Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, too tall.
Yeah.
Retired for a year to give it a try, but too tall was too slow and returned to football. Now comes Thomas Payne Jr. of the University of Kentucky, the Atlanta Hawks, Georgia State Correctional System, and the Louisville Catbirds. He was in St. Louis this week briefly to compete in the super heavyweight division of the National Golden Gloves tournament, but someone changed his mind for him. Shortly before Payne's scheduled fight Wednesday night, he disqualified himself. Because of his pro basketball experience, questions have been raised about his amateur standing. Could he be an amateur boxer?
Oh, yeah.
Which he hasn't been paid to fight, so yes, probably.
You have to be, yeah.
Because of the Byzantine rules governing amateurism, any amateur who fought Payne might have been declared ineligible for Olympic competitions. They didn't want to fuck anybody else over.
Mm-hmm.
So if Payne's going to box, he's going to have to do it for money. But that's what he's in the game for anyway. And considering where he's been and the things that have happened to him already, missing out on the Golden Gloves is no big deal. And he says this. Let's do it in their own words here.
All right, let's do it.
On Tom here. Let's. What do you say? I think it's time because he's a mess. Okay. In their own words, quote, "Something always gives me the resiliency to fight back when obstacles are in my way, and to go through the struggles I've had to go through. I've had to be very resilient."
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Jesus
it
Christ!
Gives me a rape.
All over the place. They talk about all of his problems, serving 11 years, and he says about boxing, it's an individual pursuit, something I could do and be unique, something where I could be special. Basketball was no longer adequate for me personally, but boxing fit me precisely. Even if it meant getting back into the NBA, I couldn't play basketball anymore. There's just a lot of things basketball I don't want to be involved in anymore. The politics, the blaming it on the coaches or the referees or the other guys. In boxing, I know that if I win or lose, there's nobody to blame but me. Yeah, no one's ever had judges judge a fight poorly or a ref take a point for a headbutt that wasn't, was an accident. Yeah. Boxing's the easiest sport to be fucked over in. The promoters are the most... Yeah. It's the least transparent. It's all that shit. Is out of his mind.
If it lasts the whole time, you can if you've watched 10 minutes of the fight, you have a different opinion of those 10 minutes as the next person.
Totally. You can absolutely, unless it's just dominating. But yeah, if it's a close fight, Payne knows that he doesn't have much time. His body may be magnificent, but it's 33 years old. He said, I'm not in this for any long period of time. I want to get my business degree and pursue certain other goals in my life. I think I can box for 3 or 4 years and accomplish what I want to. I'm convinced that the future will bring me the things that I and my family deserve. That's the way this country works. I don't expect a bed of roses. I know there'll be hard knocks along the way, but I've had a few already, and each obstacle you conquer makes you a stronger human being.
Specifically, violent rape.
Violent rape. I'm going to take my rape skills to the ring. Okay. If it was who can fight and rape people, I might bet on him.
Yeah, that's him.
So he said, Tom Payne, next article is June 15th, 84. Tom Payne to put gift to work in boxing ring. And gift is in parentheses. Yeah. He said, God gave me a gift, an athletic gift, but I never looked at it as anything special until I was in prison. He says, while I was in prison, I watched all the great athletes on television. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dr. J, Muhammad Ali, O.J. Simpson.
Careful.
I love it. I would look at them and then see myself sitting in prison, and I'd say to myself that I have the same gift they do. Once I was up there with them, and I lost it. That made me think about myself, and I tried to cultivate myself and prepare, and something kept telling me that I would have another chance. I've had the chance to better myself, to read and learn, and to see suffering. I look at others and consider myself kind of lucky. I feel I've risen up from my adversity. If a man has a dream, he'll keep working toward it. I've always had a dream in my life to do something special. Wow.
Right.
He's going to make his boxing debut here against Victor Soriano at the Olympic Auditorium. That's what we're doing. And he says he hopes that his boxing career, he knows it's on a tight timetable.
Yeah.
He hopes for a heavyweight title shot in about 14 or 15 matches.
I got to get it because I'm too old for anything else.
Yeah, which is about a couple of years, which would put him right in line with Mike Tyson at 20 years old.
Yeah.
Knocking his tall head off.
Dying.
Yep. He said, I've had to learn a lot, but I'm learning fast. Jesus Christ. I would say you'd have to learn a whole fucking hell of a lot.
You got to learn how to box.
Yeah. He said, they say Payne, who still proclaims his innocence on all of his charges, said the years in prison were both a trial and an education for him. He said, I've had hard times and I was down a few times, but I've managed to pick myself up. I knew if I let myself go down, it would be a victory for the people who had me incarcerated.
Okay.
He said that being in prison is no worse than some of the experiences he had at Kentucky. He said, before I was in prison, I had gone through the things at Kentucky that were, to me, just as humiliating. It's humiliating to be booed by 18,000 people and to hear racial insults. That hurt me as just as much as being in prison sometimes. Fuck that. 18,000 people can call me whatever the fuck they want as long as I'm not trapped in a fucking room where I have to watch them poop at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I'd rather
from 3
hear,
feet away.
Yeah, I'd certainly rather hear that.
Not pleasant, but prison?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's crazy. He said it's terrible when you're not respected, when people look down on you. I know when I was in prison, I'd always try not to be seen outside, be seen by outside people because it was embarrassing. A guy my size, everyone's going to point fingers at him. And it was doubly humiliating because of that situation. You want to walk with some self-respect and dignity. Yeah. Then there's all sorts of articles about like how strong he is. One guy here, his sparring partner, talks about how, quote, one day I hit him in the chin and I had thought to myself, what am I doing? Am I crazy? He could kill me. I've never seen a guy that strong. When he leans on you, he drives you right down into the ground. Wow. That's
kind of what women have said, yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly did he put something over your face? Does that happen? The local sports attorney who manages Payne said, we believe in Tom. Said, we're going to do right by him. He has had a lot of misfortune in his life, and from now on, things are going to be much better for him. He smiles, this guy, and he looks at Payne working on the heavy bag, and he said, he's something, isn't he? He's something, boy. Tell you what, look at him. He said, Payne says, I love it. I've always loved it. I kind of got pushed into basketball. People stereotype you because of your size. I like basketball, but I never loved it. Boxing is what I should have been doing all along. Oh, wow. He now lives in Los Angeles with his wife and 2 kids in the home of his aunt.
Oh, yeah, so it was somebody.
Yeah. They talk about he's done with basketball. He said, I had flashes of brilliance, but sometimes I was lost. I didn't have the timing I used to have. It was coming back too slowly. He got little encouragement from the NBA, so he said, fuck it, I'll do this instead.
Okay.
That's not bad. He went here. He also said, quote, this is amazing. I never said those women weren't accosted. I just say that I didn't do it. I never did it. I'm innocent. Okay. He said, I'm not. Then he talked about he's never claimed he's perfect. He fooled around with what women comes along and everything, but that's it. He said, I didn't rape anybody. That's crazy.
My God.
And when he finally got paroled, the first thing the examiner asked him was he guilty? And that's what they want to hear, an admission of guilt and a promise to be good. And he said, I knew they could send me back for 6 or 8 years. So when the examiner asked the question again, Payne insisted he was innocent. They sent him back to prison for 30 days, made him take some tests, a psychiatric test. And they said when they brought him back, the same question was asked. And Tom said, I was tempted, sure. But if I said I was guilty, then what were all those years for? I couldn't do it. And they still paroled him.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's pretty lucky.
I don't know how he got out with that attitude. That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Kentucky's Commonwealth attorney's Paul Richwalski, who prosecuted the case, said he's certain Payne was guilty. He said, I've always been firmly convinced of his guilt. He said, I just don't have any doubt. He has a very distinguishable features on his face, not just his height. The rape victim came to the police and identified him. I worked over the accusers pretty good. I'm still convinced. That doesn't sound good. I worked over a couple of rape victims pretty good. He said, when we tried to plea bargain with him, he told me, as I recollect, I can't stand up there in front of my family and plead guilty. To me, that's a big difference than protesting that he's innocent. Yeah. He just said, Payne says, I was a wild kid. I did things wrong. And I look at you in the eye and admit that. But being wild doesn't mean I raped someone. It doesn't mean I committed atrocities. I could never do that.
Okay.
Never. It's not going to happen. He said, he said he was, when was he shot at? Oh, okay. The Georgia prison systems, he describes something out of Papillon. He was involved in a sit-down strike that developed into a riot. He says he was shot at and then carried off to solitary confinement. He said, God must be looking after me. I should be dead. I was looking right into his face. It happened too fast to be scared. Someone grabbed me and said, get down. The man behind me was shot right in the face. He was put in a small cell where food was passed under a door. Once a week, he was allowed out for a shower. That was it. He said, it was hell. All I can say is never go to prison in Georgia.
Or really anywhere, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I guess it's worse. He said that he turned into a radical, became allied with black militants, and hated everyone white. He said he likes to say that he never gave up and never lost hope, but that isn't true. He said he seriously contemplated suicide. He said it wasn't all rah-rah, everything's going to be all right. There were moments of genuine despair. When his dad died, he said, that woke me up. I knew I couldn't sit around and feel sorry for myself and blame the world for my problems. I couldn't tell my wife, daughter, and my brothers and sisters to hate white people. They were outside. They knew better. So he talks about all of that. And he said, I was as radical can be, but I saw it wasn't doing me no good. In this society, if a man strives, he can be rewarded. If you study your history, you learn that. I didn't know anything. I didn't understand human etiquette. All I knew was how to act like a fool and spend money. I decided to improve myself.
Okay.
So, yeah. He said now he runs 6 miles a day. He says there's no shape like boxing shape.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. So he's ready to go. June 23rd, 1984. Victor Serrano here.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these fighters, it's their debut.
Oh, great.
Okay. So Victor comes in here, and this is a win for Tom.
Great.
TKO in the 4th round of a 4-round exhibition fight.
Boy.
That is Victor Serrano's one and only fight that he ever fights.
Done deal.
Done deal. Next up is Ricky Reese, August 27th, 1984. He's 1-0 coming into this fight. Ricky is.
Yeah.
3-1 for his career overall. Ricky Reese and him, they fight at the Forum in the Great Western Forum in L.A. there. This is a first-round knockout loss for Tom. Gets knocked out in the first round by an actual boxer. Well, not even. This guy had a 3-1 career total, so not great. Next up, Keith Moore, February 9th, 85. 1-3 coming into this fight. This is at the Solano County Fairgrounds in Vallejo. So there's that. This is a disqualification.
Oh.
This is a joke, is what this is. This had to be a setup because how often, you've watched a lot of boxing, right?
Yeah.
How often have you seen a man disqualified for, quote, rabbit punching? I have never, ever in any fight I've watched somebody get disqualified. I've watched them get warned for it.
Yeah, he must have done
never
it a lot.
Disqualified. In the first round?
Boy, oh boy.
He was disqualified. This man, Keith Moore, was disqualified in the first round.
That must have been the only movie he pulled.
Disqualification comes after 2 warnings, docking of points, and then you're disqualified. So that's 4 formal warnings in less than 3 minutes. That seems like a lot, right?
Yeah.
So that seems like a fix is what that seems like. A win for Tom here. So 2-1 for Tom. Next up, he fights Richie Montez, February 21st, 1985. Richie's 0-2 coming into this fight.
Okay.
And Tom, this is at the El Cortez Hotel in San Diego.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and this fight is a TKO in the first round, a win for Tom.
How about it?
So he's 3-1 in his boxing career.
It's really going.
Yeah, and they're talking about how Archie Moore is training Tom Payne. Archie Moore is one of the great fighters of all time, lightweight champion he was at one time. He's taking over the training of Thomas Payne, he said.
Okay.
That's right. Now Moore, by the way, who's 72 years old, they say went to the hospital Sunday after he was attacked by a swarm of bees in his backyard in San Diego.
Oh, shit.
He said, those bees almost killed me. They covered me like a robe. It was the worst fight of my entire career.
Oh, my God.
He got swarmed by bees, this poor man.
Holy.
This is a tough son of a bitch, Archie Moore.
That's the
Real
scariest
tough
thing
guy.
I can think of.
Oh, man. Archie Moore, by the way, he's an amateur beekeeper who should have known better, he said.
Yeah, why is he doing that?
Apparently angered the residents of the hive when he tried to move it. Yeah, stupid. That's not going to work.
They don't want to be there. They want to be where they're at.
By the way, Payne has an 89-inch reach.
Is that right?
That's
One
ridiculous.
arm is 89 inches long?
He just hits you from across the room. Like you
God
can't. Jesus
damn.
Christ. I'm not even. I wasn't even thinking about this yet.
What is that? 89 inches. How far is that? That's
really far. Really,
that's
really,
got to be
really
89
far.
inch wingspan, right?
That's his reach. So
can't be.
That's insane.
That's fucking.
How does it? That's what it says in the paper. I don't understand. I guess 89 inch. Yeah, I think that's
the biggest reach I've ever heard.
It's like 9 feet. That's not 9 total, but it's like 7.5 feet or something.
That's
crazy.
so far.
It has to be total. I guess
that has
that's
to be
both arms.
wingspan. Yeah.
Both are. I don't know. So June 6, 1985, Randy Davis, he fights here at the old El Cortez Hotel.
Yeah.
And he is Randy's 1-0 coming into this fight.
Okay.
Randy only weighs, I believe, 200 pounds here, by the way.
Oh, God. Uh-oh.
Payne is 268.5.
Oh.
This guy's 200. And this is a first-round knockout for Randy Davis.
The little guy
knocks his big ass out.
Yeah.
And he's a good boxer. That's why. Well, he 2-1 career for Randy. Not even. This is his last win.
Yeah.
Randy. And Tom will retire from boxing with a 3-2 record.
Randy made him quit.
Randy made him quit. Knocked out in the first round. He's 6'2", 206, Randy Davis.
Yeah.
He hit Payne with what's quoted a, quote, leaping right hand.
A jump. A 1-2 jump.
He fucking Little Mac'd him from fucking Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Unbelievable.
Wow.
A leaping right hand and the 7'2", 280-pounder toppled backward toward the canvas, banging his head hard.
Wow, I want to see that.
I know. I was looking for videos. Trust me. You think I didn't want to watch a 7'2" guy box and have us laugh here? He toppled backward toward the canvas, banging his head. Referee Marty Denkin, without starting a count, immediately stopped the fight.
Yeah.
Archie Moore, 72, who won the light heavyweight title in 52 when he beat Joey Maxim in St. Louis, was in Payne's corner for this fight, despite suffering an attack by bees over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
He was in intensive care for 4 days, by the way.
What?
With bee stings.
God damn. He's really lucky he's not dead.
Yeah, no shit. Moore said after the fight that Payne should have gotten to his feet immediately. Payne insisted he was not hurt by the punch, but the ref said he had enough.
Yeah.
He said that was bullshit. He said he was waiting for the count to start. He said, I wasn't hurt. I wasn't knocked out. He was waiting for the count.
Mm-hmm.
Or as Moore said, get the fuck up. Don't let him have the chance to think you're knocked out.
Yeah.
Look as ready to fight as possible at all times.
Yeah.
Look good. His record here it's dropped, and Moore said that he would like to continue working with Payne despite his loss. Yeah. Okay. Payne doesn't want to keep working on it, though. That's the problem here. So instead, he gets into acting.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. He got bit parts in movies like Stingray.
Yeah, just by being a big guy.
That's the thing. But he said, he said, quote, when men walk out of a prison, they're a little more than heathen animals, he said. Okay. That's what he said. He says it's hard to get in there. Yeah. He also said, I've seen guys get raped in Georgia. I was in a riot there. A guy stood up on a roof and shot down at me. I've seen people get raped. It wasn't even by me.
I've seen it. I watched it.
I've seen it. So Stingray is a 1985 movie. A district attorney is kidnapped by a criminal who then has a deranged doctor do something to him that leaves him with the mind of a child.
Oh, It's called brain trauma.
It's called Stingray because there's a guy leaning on like what looks to be like a 62 Corvette on the cover.
Okay.
His assistant seeks out a man who is known only by the car he drives, a Stingray.
Yeah.
He helps people who have problems, and in return, they owe him a favor that he will collect later.
Whoa.
Okay. It has 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb, shockingly enough.
Who else is in it?
It stars Nick Mancuso.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of guys that you've seen.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you go, oh, I know that guy. Oh, that guy. It's one of those. Nick Mancuso, Susan Blakely, who you've seen. She's been in a bunch of shit. I can't place where she's been.
I don't know either.
Gregory Sierra, who's been in, he was in tons of shit in the 70s.
Yeah.
Robin Douglas, who I've her face. Look at Michael Fairman. You've seen him. He's
familiar, yeah.
Plays like a coach or like a guy. I see he's in a suit, a tie with the sleeves rolled up on his shirt. Like a political movie or something.
Plays an MD in this shit.
Yeah, he's an MD. Lee Richardson. Thomas Payne plays Kundo Rio.
Kundo. Okay.
Kundo Rio.
Yeah.
Perfect. So everything's going great for him, obviously.
He's a boxer. He's a movie star. It's something.
What more do you want?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, what more could a person want from the world? Well, apparently a little bit more, because on February 19th, 1986, he is in Hollywood, and he is charged with rape. Again.
Oh.
A Hollywood woman says he raped her.
Oh, boy.
He is, that is not good. He faces arraignment on 3 counts of rape and sexual assault.
Oh, Jesus.
Not great. April 3rd, 1986, Detroit Free Press, Tom Payne's arrest baffles those who say they know him. He's a rapist. How is that baffling to you?
But they know him.
You'd think after that they'd go, oh, okay, he did do that. Okay, now I get it.
Seems to be the right guy, yeah.
Seems to be the right guy. It says, before dawn on Valentine's Day, Hollywood Division Police received 4 phone calls from people living in the 1300 block of North Poinsettia Place. The callers, sounding alarmed and nearly frantic, reported they heard a woman screaming. 2 police officers responding to the calls were shown to the underground garage of an apartment building. Oh, that's a horrible place.
Is that? Oh, golly.
Oh, God, an underground garage.
Gross.
According to police reports, the officers approached the area and heard muffled screams. Whoa. Moving closer, they saw a naked woman on the hood of a car with a white towel covering her face.
Over her face.
My God. She was jerking her head from side to side and trying to scream through the towel. On top of the woman, the cops caught him in the act.
There's no way to...
It's a conspiracy.
You can't say it now, man.
I was on top of my hood and she threw her naked body under me.
Oh, boy. The Hawks put her under me.
On top of the woman, pinning her arms down, was a 7'2", 285-pound man, the report stated.
Golly.
Oh, my God. Minutes later, how about 5 seconds later?
No, split second later.
Wow. Minutes later, police arrested 35-year-old Thomas Robert Payne Jr., the first black man to receive a basketball scholarship to the University of Kentucky, a one-time member of the Hawks, a former professional boxer, and present-day aspiring actor. Later in the day, he was charged with a forcible rape, forced oral copulation, and forcible sexual penetration with a foreign object.
Oh, dude, what's your deal?
At his arraignment last week, Payne pleaded not guilty to all 3 charges. He was caught in the act. They found... What?
You can't argue it.
Holy shit. The detective called the case, quote, a prosecutor's dream.
Wet one, yeah.
A wet one. Yet many who know Payne seem perplexed that someone so talented, so likable, could be in trouble again.
Mm-hmm.
At his arraignment hearing, pleading all not guilty here. Wow. Payne was raised in Louisville. They're talking about all these things. What happened? They said at the time of his arrest, he had appeared in the TV movie Stingray.
Right.
And in a McDonald's commercial.
Oh, may as well, yeah.
And this I knew. He appears later on, and we'll bring it up, on the TV show Night Court.
What?
I remember that. He was on Night Court. Yeah.
Really?
For, 2 seconds or whatever. Yeah. And in a music video for writer-producer Paul Jabara, and was about to embark on what his representatives foresaw as a lucrative pro wrestling career. That is what he should have done.
Yeah. from the beginning.
Put on 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And be over 300 pounds and be a 7'2" giant guy.
Monster.
Vince McMahon would have used even Giant Gonzalez they had in there. And that guy walked like he was stepping in deep mud with every step. And they still used him for a while. So why not? Wow. He said, in all honesty, he could have made $1 million this year, his agent said. Agent Lyle Baker. So we know to never go with Agent Lyle Baker if he's still alive and agenting. These days, Tom Payne sits in a 4-man cell at the Downtown Hall of Justice awaiting trial. He turned down repeated requests for interviews. Payne is estranged from Sue, his wife of 16 years.
Yeah,
she lives in Northern California but could not be located for comment. Yeah, she's tired of his bullshit. Others did speak about him, including Ron Ecker, who coached Payne during post-parole 83 comeback with the Louisville Catbirds. Ecker and Payne used to work out together in the early morning quiet at a little YMCA on Louisville's South Side. They did a lot of talking. He says Tom had a very creative mind. He did a lot of deep reading. He did a lot of reading and self-motivation. He was also an expert in weightlifting, vitamins, and diet. He knew foods like a nutritionist. He used to tell he talked about them all in prison and all that. He says, he told me all about it. He said he had a quality about him where you wanted to help him. When he was here, he had a lot of good people helping him. He always has. Now, Baker, the agent, said his friend Tom Payne is an avid reader of the Bible and would also often give Bibles away as gifts.
So what?
Wow. He's also got caught in the act of raping a woman horribly. And in the most terrifying way on the hood of a car in an underground parking garage.
While being blinded.
Well, every woman's garage nightmare is what you've just fucking done. Every single fucking woman's. It's a goddamn scene from The Sopranos, for fuck's sake.
Right.
Jesus Christ. It's horrifying. But his agent said, my prayers are with him. Now, Jabara, I don't know how you want to say it, the writer and music producer in whose video Payne starred, said he noticed one thing about Payne that impresses a lot of people. He was built like a champ. Huge, handsome, gorgeous. Women just went crazy over him. Okay. It said when Dirk Minifield was a boy, is the next paragraph, growing up in Lexington, Kentucky, he idolized Payne. He said all us black kids were aware of Tom because he was the first black player at Kentucky. We all looked up to him. Minifield was particularly worshipful of Payne, hanging around Kentucky practices to watch him play, even shining Payne's shoes.
Okay.
He grew up to be a star player at Kentucky and found himself playing with Payne on the Louisiana Catbirds. They roomed together. This guy said he was like a big brother. We used to talk a lot, and I learned a lot from him. I admired him. He taught me about being faithful to my wife and how to avoid the pressures of being an athlete. Wow. Talk about do what I say, not as I do.
Yeah, no kidding.
He was this great, big, lovable guy, a normal guy. It's a sad feeling to hear what he's going through now. There was never any indication that something like this would happen. He said, the one cloud was that Tom never admitted it to doing anything. He always maintained he was innocent. You wondered if he was railroaded, but now you wonder if he was ever railroaded at all. I don't think you have to wonder now. They caught him doing the exact same thing in the exact same way with the exact same MO of all those three. I think either that or he goes, that's not a bad idea what they accused me of.
Yeah, he may have gotten a roadmap, or this is just what he's done the whole time.
Wow. That is fucking wild. 86 here. What is this? May 86. Elaine Payne, his mom, said she believes her son has been framed of each of his 3 rape convictions.
Elaine.
She said it seems like every time his life is on the upswing, someone out there is trying to tear it down. Down through the ages, white women have brought false charges of rape against black men. Every time a black man's accused of rape, it's always a white woman. Why is that? It's a myth, and it's been perpetuated throughout the age. They caught him on the fuck. It's the same MO.
Yeah. It's also, ma'am, it's not every time a white woman. It's not every time a white woman, but he happens to rape white women, maybe.
There has been a thing of that, and a lot of people were definitely falsely for that, or falsely killed and falsely lynched and falsely millions of fucking things for that. But not him.
No, he's
not this guy.
No, he's not a
He
victim.
is not the guy. No, he is not the guy to make the poster boy for this shit. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. So They said when Payne moved to Los Angeles in 1984, he lived with his mother's sister, Marjorie Johnson. She, too, believes Payne has been framed. Johnson said women used to call or drop by her house looking for her nephew. He said, I had to run them from the door. They were not ugly ones either.
Oh, okay. All right.
She said, blondes, attractive women, all wanting Tommy. I had to chase them all the way away all the time. She said that because her nephew had his pick of attractive women. He has no reason to commit rape. Because that's what it's about, right? Yeah. My God. So, fuck, man, that is goddamn interesting. So, yeah, I don't know how do you approach this if you're his lawyer, especially because
he's caught in the act. I guess you say that I don't know what you do. I don't know. That's got to be the worst job on the planet.
Apparently, this new accusation happened at 4:30 in the morning. He grabbed the woman by the face and neck in a driveway, dragged her to the garage, and was raping her when police arrived. The victim said she'd been raped. They said Payne spontaneously stated that he had picked up the victim at a nightclub and that she brought him to her residence. That's what he told the cops. Hey, I picked her up at a club and she brought me here. Right. He said as he was pulling up his sweatpants, hey, no, this is cool, everybody.
She brought me here. She asked for it.
Here's the funniest thing, the only funny thing, I guess, in a rape area. He said, outside, the officers found Payne's 1972 Mercedes-Benz parked with the engine running. Yes, they 48 hours this fucking car. They kept it like Eddie Murphy's Porsche in 48 hours and it, kept it for him. He has a 72. That's what he had in 72 when he went away.
But he had it running too. It was
running.
Like he was running in to grab milk. He was just going to rape and jump back in the car and leave.
Yeah, picked this lady up, and I figured I told her to come back to her house, and she told me to come, so I was going to go bang her quick. So fast, I figured I'd leave the engine running.
Wow.
In a follow-up police report, Payne stated his version. He said, quote, I know this looks bad with my record and all. Do you know how bad it looks?
Incredibly bad. Yeah, like the worst.
So bad. He said, honest, detective, I met her at a nightclub last night. I just can't remember the club's name. I'll try to remember it and get back to you.
Okay, yeah, that'll fix it. Yeah.
Later, if he was asked, now do you recall the name of the nightclub? He said, no, man, you got me all wrong. I didn't meet her at a club. I'll just have to tell the judge where I met her. He changed his story. Wow. No, it wasn't a club. Never mind. Because he knows if he was at a nightclub, people would recognize if he was there because he stands a fucking foot taller than everybody else. Yeah. So Payne's attorney, Harry Weiss, said his client claims the woman cruised him on the street. Cruised him on the street. I don't know what that means. And he followed her home. She told him to come
flagged him down at a light or some shit. Hey, handsome man, follow me. How many times
has
that happened?
When a woman drives by you and just waves you in for sex at her home, just in a drive-by.
You are so handsome. Climb in this garage with me.
You might be just a torso sitting on a car seat, but still. Wow, that is amazing. The attorney said the evidence is very. This is the prosecutor said the evidence is very convincing. The guy was caught with his pants down.
Literally, yeah.
And then his partner said, the detective said, this is a prosecutor's dream. He's in big trouble. He was caught in the act.
He's in big trouble.
Somehow, and he's in big trouble. May 9th, 86, his trial is delayed somehow. I guess for more evidence, delayed until June 11th. They do that for discovery and shit like that. November 15th, 1986. Oh, here we go. He's on trial. He's facing 28 years in prison on this. They found to talk about finding his yellow Mercedes-Benz parked outside with the engine running and a dealer's plate covering his actual plate.
Oh, boy.
He learned his lesson.
Sure did.
But the problem is how many 72 Mercedes are there at that point? That's it. Yeah. The jury deliberates for 2 days on this. Wow. But this is crazy. The jurors are deadlocked 10-2 in favor of guilty on additional sex charges. Okay. That's fucking insane. They convict Payne. They reject his testimony that the woman had agreed at a traffic light to have sex with him for money. Oh, she's a prostitute now also. Yeah, right. Wow, that is fucking crazy. Wow. I don't even know what to say about that. She's 4'11", by the way.
Yeah. 4'11" prostitutes are oftentimes just flagging down 7'2" men and feeling safe.
It's at a traffic light, saying $20 over here. So it was in prison in Northern California where he said he finally started to figure out with counseling why he continued to go so horribly wrong. So he finally figured it out here. He's going to do a shitload of time in prison, though. He's going to do 14 years in prison here over this. So I think he got 20 and got out in 14.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm any parole board, and this is the second time he's in here for this, and there's been this many rapes, he's doing every fucking day
Every
of that
second.
shit.
Yeah.
Every goddamn day, except I think a lot of times, if a guy does the whole amount, then you have to let him out free and clear.
Oh, no parole.
If you let him out for 5 years, or 5 years early, then you get to watch him for 5 years. And then if he fucks up again, it's immediately
5 years.
You're fucked. You're done.
If you're a serial rapist, 5 years is real hard to do.
It's real hard to do. But at the same time, then you're putting him out there and like dangling people as bait, basically. Yeah.
Fishing.
So he is released in the year 2000 after getting his sentence reduced. He was transferred back to Kentucky in August of 2000, where he faced an additional 15 years in prison for violation of parole from his old rape charge.
You raped again.
You can't do that.
No.
April 4th, 2001, he's inmate 031259.
Yeah.
They said he ducks his head under a doorway, sliding his 7'2" frame into the visitors' conference room at the Green River Correctional Facility. This isn't what fucking Creedence was singing about, I don't think.
No.
Dressed in prison-issue brown jacket and khakis, he flashes a gap-toothed grin. Over the next 3 hours, he will speak softly about his life, occasionally tossing in Bible scripture and frequently mentioning love and forgiveness before shifting back to the loneliness of his cell. Tom Payne is far removed from the days when he wore a University of Kentucky basketball uniform and terrorized opposing defenses. Then again, he hopes he's come a long way from what he said in those times, or what he says those times caused him to do, terrorize women.
Okay. Yeah, those times did.
You want to get out early this time, you got to admit it.
Yeah.
So they said he had enormous potential, blah, blah, blah. He also had enormous problems, earning rape convictions in 3 states and squandering every golden opportunity that lay before him. Almost overnight, he went from prisoner to pariah. Plans were made for Payne to move to Cincinnati with his brother and begin a new life, counseling young athletes and publishing children's books.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Rabbit tries a rape? What's the book going to be?
I don't know.
Rapey Rabbit fucking...
It's a Pepe Le Pew book is what it is.
Oh, my God. Rapey Rabbit and Sodomy Skunk go to fucking the fair. What's he going to do here? Instead, Kentucky officials sentenced him to an additional 15 years behind bars, citing him for violating probation. His family vows to fight a difficult, if not impossible, battle to free Payne, who spent all but 4 of the past 30 years in jail. State parole board officials say that his sentence is appropriate given his past offenses and that there is little recourse. Payne's family counters that the parole board didn't consider the steps he's taken toward reform. Rather, they argue board members simply viewed him as a menacing 7-foot black man. Payne, who doesn't deny his crimes, insists his sentence and statute are intertwined. Or a sentence and stature, not statute. A naive, towering youngster who knew nothing about basketball before high school, he became the first African-American signed by Adolph Rupp. Payne said that the racism experienced from both friend and foe during his one tumultuous season led him to hate white people and lash out against women. But over time, he says, he kept come to grips with his past and his demons. He hopes people can view him like the character in one of his children's books, a troubled giant who found redemption. Oh, my God. He said, quote, "I don't think I'm some kind of monster."
No?
I think some kind of monster. You just named this episode. I appreciate that. Like the Metallica documentary.
they may have been thinking of you.
I really appreciate it. This is right around the same time it came out. Nobody needs to be afraid of me.
They have a song.
Yeah, it's what I mean. I think he heard it, and they heard this and were like, oh, he's some kind of monster.
That's him,
nobody needs to be afraid of me. Wow.
Okay.
The article says, fate found Payne during his sophomore season, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about his basketball at this point.
I want to hear about success.
Fuck that. He said, I wanted to take my own personal trail. I was trying to carve out my own identity. And he said that's why he signed with Kentucky. Like he could be a trailblazer. And he said he saw no social significance in his college choice. It was just kind of a rash decision, really. Oh, okay, so he didn't do it for that there. He said it wasn't a political thing for him. It was just like, I don't know, they're close. I'll just go there.
Okay.
Having grown up in the integrated atmosphere of Army bases and spending his high school years in Louisville's West End, Payne said he never experienced racism before college. Then it was thrust in his face. He said he showed...
Forced on him against his will?
Thrust in his face.
Yeah.
He said that threatening phone calls, broken car windows, eggs smashed on his front door became a routine while he was in college. He said he feared for the safety of his wife and his infant daughter at the time. He said, that's the kind of abuse I went through, and people think that's not supposed to affect you.
What?
How does it make you rape, though?
That makes you a violent rapist?
That's fucking insanity, man. I don't get it. So, yeah, this is crazy. Every person's described the same rape, too. That's the thing. Yeah. So it's like, man. During the trial in Louisville, the Muhammad Mosque of Islam sent the judge a petition with 2,000 signatures that proclaimed Payne's innocence. Payne had converted to Islam while imprisoned in Georgia. Payne resurfaced in 1983, paroled after just 6 years of his life sentence, because that's what he got for that other one, life. Holy shit. So he did boxing, he did night court. He would party. They talk about at night he schmoozed at parties with celebrities like Elizabeth Taylor and Eddie Murphy. My God.
Do they know?
I would hope not. And they talk about it. Police driving past a Hollywood apartment garage spotted Payne lying on top of a woman on the hood of a car. Yikes. That's crazy. One of his attorneys said, so many black people were treated unfairly in the court system, it was easy to believe that he didn't do it in Georgia and Kentucky. He said, after the arrest in California, it became a lot harder to believe. Yeah. Facing hard time yet again, Payne says he was left with no choice but to look inward. He said, that was the worst experience that ever happened to me.
Happened to me.
That was what happened
to me.
Happened to me. Like it was He was sitting in the living room.
Yeah.
And this happened to him.
It was really embarrassing to have cops happen upon me in the midst of my worst fucking offense.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and just because I've never had a problem at all with this, never had a problem, never had a thought. It's really easy to not rape.
Seems
like
to
it's
be.
So easy to not do it.
Yeah.
It's just the easiest thing in the world to not rape. Rape is never thrust upon you to do to someone. Like, oh, I had to get out there and do it. I don't know.
You're never raped to rape.
No, it's never been a thing. So that is fucked up.
What a monster.
He said, I did something that I didn't want to do. I self-destructed. I let everybody down. I knew then I needed help.
Golly.
Yikes. He underwent psychiatric counseling and discovered something about himself that was shocking, he said. He subconsciously sought out white women to abuse because of the hatred he developed at UK. He said, before I went to college, nothing in my life said I was going to be a criminal. I never got in trouble. I never treated women bad. My whole life took a turn going to UK and getting damaged so much. My anger and hatred toward white society came up and I lashed out. It was never about sex or violence with me. If any of my victims showed me the least bit of resistance, I would back off. They were terrified of you because you're a giant monster.
A woman had a rag on her face, wiggling back and forth, trying to get free. I think that's what
screaming. By the way.
What constitutes resistance to him?
Yeah, if she threw a punch. I mean, what are we talking about? He took several sex offender courses, and he turned out to be the best at it.
He did real. He's a black belt in it.
Top of his class in sex offenderness.
He graduated.
Oh, for sure. He spent years in therapy and met face-to-face with sexual abuse victims as part of the violence prevention program. He said, just seeing the pain in their eyes, I would never want to hurt another woman again. A board of therapists examined Payne and cleared him for parole. They said, one of them said, he's made a tremendous effort to heal himself. He's done some very bad things to hurt people, and he takes full responsibility. It's been a journey for him to be able to do that. Okay. And then he also say that he converted to Christianity while in California, and he really embraced Christianity and became a mentor to other inmates. That's what some pastor says. His belief is not manipulative in nature. He genuinely loves the Lord.
Right.
Wow. Last summer, Payne appeared to catch a break. His attorneys convinced an appeals court that California had improperly enhanced his sentence by 20 years because of his prior convictions. The court agreed and agreed to reduce his sentence by 10 years, which would have made him eligible for parole in 6 years, or 6 years earlier than before. Payne had won his freedom, it seemed. His brother Darrell, a prosecutor in Cincinnati, sold his newly built 4-bedroom home and purchased a 2-family unit, preparing for Tom to move in with him.
Oh, that's nice.
That's when they put him in Kentucky jail instead.
Yeah.
So one attorney, Leonard Oldwin Jr., who represented him in the extradition hearing in California, said Kentucky officials seemed overzealous in their pursuit. He said, "I've done a lot of extraditions before, but this one was unusual. When I called the parole board office, they immediately knew the case and were adamant about wanting him back. They certainly seemed to have it in for him for some reason. That sentence seemed to be unusually harsh. Wow. Darrell, his brother, said the board didn't adequately consider Tom's efforts at reform while in California or the support system he had in place in Ohio, nor did it take into account the extra 6 years he served in California or the fact that rape no longer carries a life sentence in Kentucky." The guy said, his brother said, "As a prosecutor, I understand the seriousness of rape, but based upon what he was convicted for, the time he served and the rehabilitation process he's gone through, I don't understand what they're getting at holding him for another 15 years. I have a feeling a lot of this has to do with who he is, his size, and that's grossly unfair to him." I don't think his size matters now.
No.
Tom Payne says that the parole board's decision is based on nothing but racism.
Oh. Well, that solves it.
Yeah. He said that people in the state are still mad at him for breaking the color barrier at UK.
Oh, because he's the first black guy. Oh, yeah.
Wow. He said, "I'm not the first athlete to get in trouble, but I'm probably the first to do this kind of time." Oh, you're not?
No.
What the fuck are you talking about?
People that done life.
Reuben Carter had to, wow. Oh, my God. He says, "Ask yourself why. No white guy in America has ever done this kind of time." I think Charles Manson might disagree with you, considering he's been up for parole for 50 fucking years and never gotten out. Not that he should get out, but
he died.
Bad people, really, really bad people, they want to keep in there, it seems like.
He died in prison, for Christ's sake.
Died in fucking prison, and he was eligible for parole literally
30
since the
times.
80s, I think. Yeah. So that's interesting. Former parole board executive director Tom Campbell says that by law, Payne's parole was revoked automatically because he committed a felony. The state could have given him up to 20 years, he said.
Yeah.
And he also said, "I wouldn't say his case is unusual." He said that the board considers a laundry list of factors when determining sentences for violations, including whether violence was involved in the offense and the community's attitude toward the crime. Public safety is the overriding concern. Given the nature of the offenses he's had and the fact that he's committed this last offense after being given the opportunity for parole, I'm sure that weighed heavily on the board's opinion. Yeah, fool me once type of thing. Not again. So he said that this guy also said that he said he was shocked to hear that Payne had already been released from California. He said, "I disagree that he's paid enough. If he had stayed clean and not gotten in any more trouble, then he'd be a free man." Wow. Linnie Meyer, president of the Center for Women's and Families in Louisville, says although she empathizes with Tom's family, but someone who has worked with rape victims, seen the lasting impact of the crime, she also supports the parole board's decision. She said, "Obviously, he has a long history, and this is a pattern of behavior. He knew what he was doing, and he knew the difference between right and wrong. He deserves to be held accountable for his crimes." So, yeah, that's interesting. By the way, Elaine, Tom's mom, went back to school in the 80s and finished work on 2 degrees, and she maintains her son is innocent on all counts, including the caught in the act rape.
Wow.
Darrell Payne said he's consulted with several attorneys and hopes to find a way to reduce his brother's sentence or force a new parole hearing. They say that seems unlikely, though. Campbell said new hearings can only be ordered if a defendant proves misconduct by the board or if there's new evidence. Yeah, that's not going to happen here.
No.
He's penned 3 children's books, loosely based on his experiences and featuring children as characters, or his children as characters, and he hopes to publish them someday. He said they're all about the absence of hatred, because he is at peace with himself, Payne says. He's prepared to serve out the rest of his sentence.
Okay.
He said, the real reason I want out, not to attack women or anything, is so I can use my experience to help others.
Right.
I'd like to travel around the country speaking to young athletes. That's what I'd love to do.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not looking for sympathy. I know I made mistakes, and I'm deeply sorry. I pray for my victims. At the same time, should I have to pay for these mistakes for the rest of my life? I mean, it's not even pay at this point. It's the fact that every time you're let out, you do it again. So this is now protecting us. That has nothing to do with you anymore. We're protecting other people.
You got a debt to society to pay, too.
Yeah. But I mean, to me, it's not even about punishment.
No.
Even if you say, okay, you're all punished up for that, we're still not letting you go out and do this again. We know what you're going to do when you get out because that's what you do.
You've done it time and time again.
You rape then. 2005, from prison, he says, I have hurt people. I've actually met women who were raped and talked to me personally. He says, so, he's talking about all this. He's like, I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He says, when asked, by the way, a teammate of his, they asked him, have you ever heard from teammates? And he said, not really. And they said, you have to be a teammate and a teammate for life. This is one of his old teammates here. So he said he wanted to visit his old teammate while in prison. He said, when he first entered the room, I made a point to go to him. He said, that meant more to me than anything, Tom Payne said. Jim Andrews is a respected Kentucky player. We were able to hug each other like brothers. Andrews said, I don't think any life is wasted. I think God puts us on this earth for a purpose. He now hosts an in-prison TV show asking young inmates to question what they've done to society and their families. Wow. Payne says, I wouldn't want my mother to be a victim. I wouldn't want my daughter to be a victim, and that's not trite. He says he hopes the parole board will let him find a purpose outside of prison, too. He wants to have a relationship with his daughter. Tom says, she said, Daddy, I think about you all the time, and she starts crying. My wife comes to the phone, and she says, what'd you make her cry for? And I say, I didn't make her cry. Okay. He also wants to help his 8 brothers and sisters, which seems like they're going to help him, honestly. They've all been paying his legal bills,
how are you gonna,
brothers and sisters.
How are you going to help anybody?
That's crazy. So March 30th here, 2010, they talk about he's still in prison.
Wow.
And this is the first day of the Southeastern Conference tournament, which Kentucky won that year.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sitting in the cafeteria of the Little Sandy Correctional Complex watching it. And serving a life sentence for rape conviction at this point.
Christ.
He has 4 years before he's eligible for parole, though, now. He is stuck in there. And he said, I'm not making any excuses for what I did. He said, I just want to give an explanation.
Yeah.
That's all. He said that the younger version of myself, I wouldn't even refer to as a man. He said, I can't even refer to him as a man.
No.
He said, here's what you've got to realize, and I hope I articulate this correctly. How a person does something is sometimes a mystery to the person. First of all, when I look back at my life sometimes, I don't even see myself. I'm talking about what you're talking about, the crimes. I don't see myself doing what I did. The person...
What?
I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy.
Doesn't sound like me.
No. He said, my life, whatever I have, I want it to benefit someone. I want to be able to turn some people around so that they will have a conscience. He said, though, he would not so much like a reconciliation with Kentucky, but a recognition of his role in its program's history. The doors have been wide open for black players since the mid-1970s, and Tubby Smith was a coach there and everything else. They said, the doors aren't open to me, though.
No, they're
not
locked.
open to me. Yeah. I would say, Jesus Christ. Some of Payne's playing days, people have stayed in touch. Claude Vaughn, Rupp's longtime team trainer, has written to him regularly for years, even though he's now in failing health. Jim Andrews, who joined the team at the same time and replaced Payne at center when he left to go pro, stays in touch and has visited him. Scotty Baszler, who coached his AAU team that he played on. He also became mayor of Lexington and a congressman, that Baszler guy, and helped Payne's brother Darrell, a lawyer in Cincinnati, try to get Tom paroled, arguing that Kentucky should consider the time he served in California.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So Payne says, he just keeps saying the same thing. He says, I just want to have a positive impact. My days with Adolph Rupp right now, I cherish those days. I cherish being a part of that school's history because it's something that I contributed to, something that was unbeknown to me at the time. I know it was a part of something good, and all I want is that people to look at it as something good. But, wow, it's really hard to do that. He said, I understand what people are saying. I know people are saying, here is this Tom Payne. I knew him when he was over there, and now there's this thing going on with him over there. It's hard for people to understand. This thing is rape convictions.
Yeah, dude, there's nothing going on with you.
Wow. But what they don't understand is that they're seeing two different people. You can say you knew me, and I've always been known to be a nice guy to people. I've never been an outright hostile person. Most people who know me say that I'm a nice guy, but you really don't know what's going on with people.
Yeah, except for those 3 times.
They know, yeah. He said now he talks about that he holds no grudge against Adolph Rupp, who died in 1977. Okay. He says that the Wildcats won another conference title, finished 8th in the polls that year. He was fine. He said, now I understand that it was institutional racism. He says, I understand that.
Rapism.
That he put me out there. He means not the rape.
All right.
He means the people not liking him in Kentucky.
Yeah.
He said he understands it wasn't Adolph Rupp's fault.
It's not his fault, yeah.
That's what he's trying to get at is Adolph Rupp. He said, I understand that he put me out there and he believed in me. Even after I left when he was struggling, he'd say it'd be a lot different if Tom were here. So I've come to kind of have love for him as a father figure. You were saying he was literally setting you up for rape
the reason
charges.
That's what you, wow, man.
Wow, that's wild. Interesting. He said, I wasn't like Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was a lieutenant in the Army. He went to UCLA. He had Branch Rickey. He was prepared. I read their stories. I wondered how they made it. Jim Brown, people like that. They were more matured. They were more prepared to fight racism. My background didn't prepare me. My mother and father were not racist, so racism was not in our household. They were in the Army. I lived on Army bases my whole life, and they were integrated, so you really didn't go through that. So I wasn't prepared for that. And when it finally hits you like a brick wall. Mm-hmm. He said, when I was young, I had no clue. I had no clue that I was Tom Payne, the first African-American to play at the University of Kentucky. I knew that's what I was, but I had no clue about what that would mean to people in the state, to African-Americans in the state. So I had no clue as to how I was supposed to carry myself. What? Didn't know.
Didn't know how to be a good person.
Yeah. And he said he showed up in Atlanta and he had a wife and kid and a big contract. And he said things were going on that I'd never seen before. And just his brain made him rape. He said, really, I don't ever think about why I was in prison. What I thought about was I combated prison. I fought prison. I thought, I'm going to show them that they can't break me. That was my mentality. So there was no real true soul work in his first prison run, he said. Mm-hmm. And then he went to jail, got out, boxed. And he said all these financial resources for playing his sport that somehow has manhood, understands conduct. In actuality, a lot of these guys don't. Talking about athletes. They don't get how lucky they are.
Yeah.
So, wow. Talking about prison here and talking about rape and everything else. And he said he has no problems, but he harbors no illusions about parole in 2014. He doesn't think they're going to let him out then.
Okay.
He said, if you make a phone call to Perry Wallace, you'd find that his soul was impacted. His behavior and actions were different than mine, but you wouldn't really know what impacted him deeply. I can guarantee you Perry Wallace is in the closet of his home. He had thoughts and felt some pain that he's never expressed. Why is he talking about this? Oh, he's talking about another Kentucky person here. He says this is Tom Payne. Wow. To me, racism is rape. It's the rape of a person's soul. It's the rape of a person's identity. Whenever you make someone less of a person than they are, that's rape. And maybe that's the reason I went in the direction I did. I can't call it. I try to call it, and I know that. He said, then he paused and he said, you'd have to talk to the other person about that. I can't tell you about that. I'm almost 60 years old and I've been in prison for the last 24 years, but I'm all right with it. I believe I will be in a position to be able to talk to young people and bring something of myself to people, maybe some young person, so they won't make the tragic mistakes I've made.
Fascinating.
2015, February 25th, 2015 here. He says he's good now. Mm-hmm. All rehabilitated.
Yeah, fixed it.
He's reformed, and that's that.
Okay.
Yep. He said, well, first of all, I never try to defend the indefensible. When you do something that devalues another human being, you do something that's invasive to another human being, and you do something that causes consequences to another human being, that's terrible. He said, when I die, I don't want this part of my life to be the only thing that's on my tombstone. He said, I want to get out. I have a new fiance named Janet Howard. He said they first met 40 years ago when he was playing for the Hawks.
Wow.
She assumed he was probably married and living the good life. She said, I did not even know his story until 4 years ago.
Really?
Yep. She said she believes in God and that she believes it was God who brought Payne back into her life, and she's not afraid. She said, yes, he's been convicted of all that. All that. He says how they fell in love. She just wanted someone to take care of her heart. Well, I feel the same. Yeah. Interesting. So he said, we're not here trying to defend, this is his lawyer saying, we're not trying to defend his actions. We're trying to say he had an unfair trial, or we're not trying to say that. We're trying to say the sentence is unjust and unconstitutional.
Oh.
So he said, I think we can all agree that a person should not serve a life sentence for an offense that only carries 20 years in today's society. And that's what he says. He says that I didn't have the moral or mental faculties to deal with what I was given, and I think that hurts a lot. I'm a changed person, and I'm no harm to anybody.
Oh, boy.
He says, so they have to live with, talking about his brothers and sisters, he said, so they have to live with their brothers being convicted of rape. They have to. That's what he says. They have to live with it, he says. So I got off the telephone, went upstairs, and got on my knees and prayed, and I asked God not to let my mother suffer. And the next day, they called me to the captain's office and let me know my mother was gone. His mother died while he's in there. So May 20th, 2015, Tom Payne's victim shares her story. This is the, I believe, the California woman here. Mm-hmm. Yes. She said she just pulled into her garage when he threw a towel around her head and raped her. She said he put his hand under my chin and started choking me, and I kind of got blacked out. And they say when you go, you see that white light, and I saw this huge white light, and come to find out it was the police with their flashlight. She thought she was dying, and they had come around, and that's when they caught him. I mean, how often does that happen?
Never. Never.
Wow. Like they said, like many of you, Bonnie saw our interview with Payne, who was convicted on multiple rape charges. After serving time for Bonnie's rape in California, he's been serving additional time and saying, I'm a changed person. I'm no harm to anyone. Bonnie said she, too, is a changed person who's been leery in relationships and dealt with trust issues for 30 years. She said, what could I have been? What course of action my life could have taken if this didn't happen to me? Yeah, that's what I mean.
Indeed. She
said, I've thought a lot about it over the years. Maybe that's the closure I needed. I don't know. She said that Payne, I guess, when he did a sit down, I guess, face to face at the Kentucky institution here, they say, why did you rape those women? And he said, well, first of all, I never try to defend the indefensible. And the woman he raped here, Bonnie, said to me, you might as well have said because they were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bonnie said she thinks there will be one day be a book or a Thomas Payne movie, and she does not want to be a chapter, but also has no interest in testifying to keep him behind bars. Part of me says you've served your time, you've served it twice, and it doesn't change you. Nothing will. If that doesn't change you, nothing will. Right. You say you want to have a good life when you get out, go have it. If you backslide and repeat the same old habits, then that's between you and God. She also said it bothers her that Payne wouldn't know her if they were standing in the same room, where she has spent most of her life learning about him. She said, I'll never forget it and forgive. I can't. He almost killed me. I mean, it was almost the end of my life that night. Now, that is where, that's where we left off in the first episode.
Yeah.
Was him. We didn't have all that info, but we left it off. He's in prison. December 1st, 2016, it's ruled that he must stay in jail.
Mm-hmm.
They said 2 members of the Kentucky Parole Board deferred at a hearing Wednesday a request for 2 years until December 18th, or December 2018. They're not going to do it now. November 20th, 2018, he is paroled.
Jesus.
Paroled. He's 68 years old.
Uh-huh.
He walked down the hall saying, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He said, quote, Well, first of all, I never try to defend the indefensible, he said at the time, but when you do something they give that. So he's paroled. He gets out in January.
70-year-old man?
Yep. July of 2020, he lives in Lansing, Michigan, and he says he gets little news about Kentucky basketball, so he admitted that when he was called that he didn't know a lot about the particular agenda to have former Kentucky basketball coach Adolph Rupp's name removed from Rupp Arena. The University of Kentucky's African American and Africana Studies program said that Rupp's name stood for racism and exclusion in its request to UK officials to have the name removed. The group added Rupp's name alienates black students and fans. Payne said, I wouldn't want to say anything because the way I feel about life, I don't really rehash negativity about what was and wasn't true. I have made enough mistakes, so I don't condemn people for making mistakes if they did make one.
Huh.
Okay. He said Coach Rupp lived in a certain time frame where there was a whole lot of racists. He's not the only person who was supposed to be a racist then, according to some. But look at the good things he did. He said that
okay.
He said, look how much courage it took for Rupp to start him in the year after the Dan. But no, it didn't. They recruited him because they got smoked by a starting five of black people. That's why they had nothing to do with it's time, God damn it, to let these people have what they deserve.
Yeah.
It was, if we don't start getting black kids, we don't start getting someone with more than a 21-inch vertical jump, we're not going to fucking win
We're in
anymore.
a lot of trouble. Yeah. Jimmy
We're
the
gonna be
Greek's got a
fucked.
point.
Yeah, that's what he said, pretty much. So he said that took courage and that sort of thing. He says to start him after Dan Issel had graduated, Payne had to earn the spot. He said Dan was one of the greatest players ever, and it was a real big controversy over who would start after he graduated. Right now, me and Jim have relationships like spiritual brothers, and we really had some wars back then. I used to think he was my enemy, meaning Jim Andrews, the backup guy. Now we talk at least once a month, and he's helped me a lot. I think me starting ended up being good for Kentucky. After me, players came like Jack Givens, and Kentucky won a national championship. Then you had Sam Bowie, Melvin Turpin, Dirk Minifield, and just a legacy of good and great African-American players.
Sam Bowie's a black guy, huh?
Yeah.
Barely.
Light skin with black. Yeah. He said, I don't have a lot of bad things to say. Did I go through a lot? Yeah, I did, but life is about overcoming. I can't make excuses about who I am as a person and not be accountable for what I've done and then not be forgiving. For me, it's hard to get involved in something just because everyone else is saying I'm not going to jump into the bandwagon for anything. If you remove a name from a university, what is that really going to do? It's going to hurt a lot of people. It is there, entrenched there. Coach Rupp, that's what it says. Coach Rupp is still in the history of this country. Whether you like it or don't like him, he's a mythical figure. Just look at that before you begin to act. Look at his humanity, his family. When you tear somebody down, look at the legacy he left and the people he left behind. I am one of the few left who played for the man. Those professors did not ask me about my experiences with him. I am in support of any organization like that, because when I was at Kentucky, there were not many African-American professors. There was one I was close to, and that meant a lot to me, but there are other agendas to heal wounds. So he's saying it's the professors that want this, and he's like, I'm on their side, but I don't really know about this one. So he said, I never had to really deal with race till I started traveling in the SEC. That's why maybe the impact on me was different than that of the average African-American that was used to racism. I'd never been exposed. So he said, I'm trying to deal with larger issues. I'm trying to help people, especially young men, understand race and racism. There's a lot of people talking now, and I am not talking about any specific person or group that have not really had to face racism in the way that my generation have. I lived through it, and some issues of life caused me to go off kilter due to experiences of racism. Off kilter is a really wild way to put raped a bunch of people. Because how many people did not come forward?
Right. Oh, God.
They were terrified of it.
You've got caught 3 times. You've done it more.
Especially in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Jesus. Fortunately, my life did a 360-degree turn. Nope, that's not
180.
How you want to say that. And I have grown in a lot of ways, just not my knowledge of how angles and shit work. I work with men in this area to teach young men the principles about life. Why not seek that out and help them in society and move forward? Let's work together. Now, by the way, I saw an interview with him that I believe is from 2023.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. It's some University of Kentucky basketball program, and they're interviewing Tom on there.
Jesus.
They got him sitting there in a suit like he didn't rape a bunch of people. It's fucking crazy.
Their website doesn't even say a word about him raping.
No, of course
crazy.
not. And here's what he's doing nowadays, transformationalvictories.com.
Oh, boy.
Together, we transform challenges into victories, uniting communities, uplifting voices, and fostering growth for brighter, restored future.
Mm-hmm.
The mission and goals of our organization, Transformational Victories, is a nonprofit organization that seeks to inform, uplift, engage all segments of the community to work collectively to cultivate a positive environment for growth and restoration. And here is Tom with a bunch of kids gathered around
really
him.
Doing it. Jesus.
Teaching them, I use a dish towel. Now, you might be more into...
You might be a paper bag guy. You might be a plastic
beach
bag
towel,
guy.
burlap sack. I don't know. So they say transforming lives, strengthening communities, transformational victories helps meet the needs of our community, overcoming challenges and creating opportunities for success. And there's Tom with a kid.
Goddamn.
Tom with a... Here's my favorite. Here's Tom with 2 cops and a man holding a turkey.
Boy, oh boy.
Smiling.
Hope that cop keeps him close.
Here's Tom with a dog. He's like, look, cops are close to me. Dogs like me. I'm fine now.
Wow.
Kids, dogs, and cops. They're all fine with me. Meet Thomas R. Payne Jr.
Jesus.
He's sitting in a chair just reading.
Man.
Look at this. That is
just
amazing.
sitting there with a book and a collared shirt.
That's all there is to it. Let's see how they describe him. See how complete they are with his biography. Thomas R. Payne Jr. is the son of Thomas R. Payne Sr. Well, we fucking knew that.
Yes,
and Elaine Payne. His father was honorably discharged as a sergeant after 23 years in the U.S. Army, while his mother remained a homemaker, caring for Thomas and his 8 younger siblings. As a military family, they lived in Germany, Germany that is, and throughout the United States, finally settling in Louisville, Kentucky when Thomas was 15. Although he had never played basketball, entering Shawnee High School in 1966 as a 6'10 sophomore, he was immediately recruited to play on the basketball team. Ultimately, he became a high school basketball star, earning All-State and All-American honors as a senior. In 1969, in an historic signing, he became the first African-American basketball player at the University of Kentucky under the renowned coach Adolph Rupp and the second African-American basketball player in the Southeastern Conference. In his sophomore season, he was named to the All-SEC first team and was selected as an honorable mention and All-American. At the end of his sophomore season, he entered the NBA hardship draft and was selected as the number 1 pick of the Atlanta Hawks in 1972 to begin what was to be an illustrious professional career.
And then
that's all.
And then
that's his biography.
And then you can Google the rest.
This is my favorite. Along the journey, because there's another article on him in here, along the journey to become a star athlete, Mr. Payne fell from grace. Yes, he did. On this show. Yeah. And it just says, through his actions that led to multiple confinements. So his actions.
Those are... Rapes are his actions. All right, well.
That's his actions,
That's
man.
true, but you have to Google it to find out.
Wow. He said the barren lifelessness of a desert was truly symbolic of my life. My own behavior had diminished my life, and was only God's love and redemptive grace that allowed me another chance at life. Mm-hmm. Can't get enough of Thomas Payne?
Oh, boy.
Well, here is a signature. It's on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And it's $35. It's a signature and
paper.
a piece of, it's literally scrap paper. It's cut out of something else. The P is cut out around it. It's probably multiple people signed that paper.
Yeah.
$35 on eBay if you want that. And this is out of their minds. Tom Payne signed team issued 8x10 press photo.
Yeah.
So it's just a black and white 8x10 press photo that the Hawks issued in 1972 to the press, signed by Tom Payne. Completely different looking signature than the other one, by the way. One of those is not his signature.
Yeah.
$749.49.
Wow.
Little fucking pricey
Who
for that.
Who cares?
Good God. And here's a 72 press photo for Tom Payne coming out of court with handcuffs on.
Yeah.
1999, not autographed.
You didn't sign that one?
Nope, didn't sign that one. And if we did mistaken identities, there's so many.
It's crazy.
Absolutely not even fucking
it's
possible to put them all in. Yeah, it's a giant list that we won't go through. So there you go, everybody.
Wow.
There's Tom Payne.
5 hours
parts
of this man.
In your ass.
Yeah.
Better than having him in your ass, though. So hope you enjoyed that. If you did, tell everyone about it.
Yeah.
the most times the word rape has been said.
Unbelievable.
In a 5-hour period in the history of sports. So definitely tell everyone about it. Get on whatever app you're listening on. Give us a review on any of those. It doesn't matter which one. Shutupandgivememurder.com is the website. Right. Get in there. Lots of merch. Yeah. We have tickets for live shows, New York and Boston. Couple tickets left. Get in there right now and get those. And then new tour coming out this month for 2025. We'll tell you all about that. Shutupandgivememurder.com. You can follow us on social media. We're at Crime and Sports. Patreon.com/Crime in Sports. Yep. Bonus material.
Hey, boy.
So much. Yeah. Anybody $5 a month or above, you get hundreds of episodes that you've never heard before, of bonus stuff, and then new ones every other week. A Crime and Sports and a Small Town Murder, and we'll give them to you, all of them. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You take them. Just take them.
They're all yours.
$5, fine. You've bargained us down.
Done.
We're happy. Now, do it up. This week we have a UK, an English soccer sex scandal we'll talk about, which is pretty gross. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about the cult baby murder trial people. And these are just a crazy group of people, polygamists that had their own weird beliefs. They named themselves different shit. They drank their pee on a daily basis. Need I say fucking more? It's crazy. That is patreon.com/crime and sports. Oh, and one more thing. Yeah. You certainly get a shout out at the end of the show for doing that. And when does that happen?
Right now.
Right. God damn now. Jimmie, hit me with the names of the people who would never, ever, ever wrap our faces in a dish towel for any reason. Hit me with them right fucking now.
This week's executive producers are Nikki Oss, Elena Zemmel, and her pup Sammy. She lost puppies. Sammy, the poor pup.
Puppies.
17. That's a good run. Damn good run.
That's a good run. Yeah,
Gary Howard, Amy Barton, Amber Drew
thanks,
Snup, Annette Hollywood, Eleanor Consolo, Adam Brewer's brother-in-law Lucas. Happy birthday, Lucas. And also Stella. You guys are amazing. We can't do this without you. Polish your balls. I love you to death. You're the best. Other producers this week are Peyton Meadows, Liz Vasquez, Rachel Trevathan, Janice Hill, Dawn and Deanna in Minnesota. Melissa with no last name. Justinian Wilsonian 420. Tracy with no last name. Eric Wright, Glennie Red, Todd Usher, Quentin Binkley, Cameron Hughes, Tasha Yarborough, Nick Fricano, not going to work here. Emily with no last name. Les Morcillo, Christine Schultz, Anthony Cicciolone, right? I don't know. Casey Rath, Christopher Nicholas, Quaid Palm, M. West, Maxine Kroll, Jacob Petretta, Maria Cook, Tiffany Gonzalez, Learning DD7767YU. Why would you do that to me? Taylor Stansberry, Bradley Egler, Tyler Wilmoth, Mandy Lowe, BB, the letters B and B, Sarah Rucci, Mariella with no last name, Christopher Sullivan, Dawn with no last name, Michelle Jackson, Chris Elliott, Meg with no last name, Leslie Lawless, Lori Bailey, W.E. Nobles, We Nobles, I don't know, Lexi with no last name, Jackie with no last name, Claire with no last name, Jennifer Mills, Christian Wright, Dutchman with no last name. It's Betty Bish. Oh, Betty Bish, whoever that is. E.S. Show Jumping. Perhaps S. Show Jumping. Is show jumping in Espanol.
I don't know.
Karen.
Maybe. Just
Karen Thomasy.
Spanish programs.
Jared Parnell, Gay Ass Ben, Jabriel Monk. Jabriel, maybe. Ray Trevathan, Tommy Silcox, Kate Davis, Skip Hayford, Kiana Jackson, Cynthia R., Jeremy Cloutier, Kristen Sanchez, Emily Ranger, Jason Cohen, Chelsea Shoemaker, Lamarwin Crit, maybe? Lamarwin, that's a cool name.
Lamarwin, I've never heard that.
That's mash. All right. Nadia Richards, Ontic, Ontic. Antique, I don't know. The Pipe Wielding Dude, 86. The Science Walrus, Bethany LaFontaine, Wendy D, Sarah Coville, Rusty with no last name, Susan Wheeler, Jillian Arena, Jacqueline Yulferts, that's a fascinating way of speaking Jacqueline, Heather Rush, Catherine, it's Karen Hamrock, Courtney, All right, Courtney Sullivan. This is really difficult. Ellis McNeil. I swear it's hard. Eric Seifert, Rodolfo Flores. Cody would know last name. Isabel Franchini, Daniel Lindsay, Rebecca Reardon. Laura would know last name. Dina Sanders. Oh boy. RJ. Elena Tomlinson. Emily Foles, Ruben Kessler, the Cuban wrestler, Kenneth Dobney, Jegan. Is this Jen? Jeghn? That's Jen Starwitz, right? Audra Colston, who knows? Pam Bennett, KB Stallings, Jenna Lewis, Daryl Berry, Nick Jacques, Scott Berryman. Michael Walutz, Alicia would know last name, Jace would know last name, Janae Fraley, perhaps Ace's daughter, Darren Jenkins, John Roberts, Scott would know last name, Aaron Schaefer, Dylan Nielsen, Douglas Woodson, Laura and Tim, Michelle O'Donnell, Erica Moreno, Cheyenne Hobbs, me S, I think, Lauren Archer, Todd Horse Cochran. Yep. Todd Horse Cochran?
Cochran.
Got it?
Yeah. Immediately, I'm like,
well done, Todd, you son of a bitch. Gina Miller, the Duff, Rebecca Boulay, Danielle W., Warren McDonald, Jamie Becker, Benedict Cartson, Angela Connor, Kelsey would know last name, Joe Becerra, Cynthia Pasquale, the Bedola family, Brenda Wegner, Jenny Jones, Krista Lee, like Ashley that played for the Broncos. Owen Eads, Emily Betts, Brooke Horn, Adam Wright, Donna Sweeney, Paula Thomas, Lucy with no last name, TJ Mooney, Monty White, Candace Donahue maybe, Jesse Alicio, Shaylee Brooke, and Amber Blakely, and all of our patrons. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of our dead, cold, black hearts. We appreciate the fuck out of all that you do for us time and time again and every goddamn week. Yep. Keep doing it. Keep it up. Thank you. Tell your friends. Want to follow us on social media, shutupandgivememurder.com, drop-down menu. Keep doing that. Come back next week live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.